Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmie. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us, an immense amount for joining us today. We are thrilled to be here on another crazy episode of Crime and Sports, and this one is insane. This, you have to, don't tune out halfway through it. You need to hear bell to bell on this one, and it's just absolutely fucking bonkers. One of the worst people we've ever had on Crime and Sports, and that's saying something. That when we deal with the Buck Zumhoffs and OJ and things like that, we've had some bad people. This guy ranks up top 10. He could be. He's an early nominee for Scumbag of the Year, and we haven't even done the episode yet. So I think this is good stuff. Before we get to that, though, quickly want to thank everybody for your reviews this week. They do help. So that purple icon, give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. We don't know why, but just do it because it helps. Yeah. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now. You'll get lots of things there. Number one, merch. We have tons of merchandise, shirts and shoes and things and you name it, bags, and there's all sorts of stuff there, so check that out for both Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder. And if you're not listening to Small Town Murder, you're blowing it, is what you're doing, because
the boat's drifting.
It's drifting away. You can grab on, damn it, grab onto the rope and pull yourself on, because wow, has it been nuts over there. So if you like crazy stories, that's a place you need to be. Small Town Murder. Check all of that out there, and especially check out live shows. We have live shows all through 2022, and there's tickets available there. Shutupandgivememurder.com.
I've never been more excited. I honestly can't wait to get back on the road.
That's going to be fun to see everybody again, actually. That'll be a good time to not just... We always talk into a void every week, and then we go do these live shows, and it's like, oh, there's human beings, and it's a good rhythm.
Those are faces, James.
It's been taken, so yeah, it's going to be nice to be back out there again. Patreon, oh boy, do you want to sign up for Patreon. Mm-hmm. If you haven't already, I don't know what you're waiting for, but do that. Patreon.com/crimeandsports. This week's, first of all, we had personal ads last week, which were awesome, and Richard Ramirez's childhood. Mm-hmm. This week, we have for the Crime and Sports bonus, and you'll have access to all the bonuses for both shows and everything, and, it all goes together. That's it. We have backstage wrestler fights from throughout history.
Okay.
So this is actual wrestlers fighting each other because they're angry at each other. So this is going to be...
That happens a lot.
Oh, boy, and they're so fun, too, because, these guys are, a lot of times they're vicious. A lot of times they come up with these elaborate things to get each other and have these, feuds, not actually in the ring, outside there. It's crazy shit. So we'll get into all that. Tons of them. The ones you've heard of, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart wrestling around. You got that. The Bulldogs and the Rougeaus, those old-timey ones. You name it, it's going to be there. Check that out. Lots of fun. And then Small Town Murders will be... Bret Michaels is a big wrestling fight. Imagine him fighting a wrestler.
Hair extensions and Rockin' Republic jeans flying everywhere.
Pummeled. But Shawn Michaels was really like the wrestling version of Bret Michaels back then anyway, so that's okay. But a great wrestler still. We'll get into all that. And
I wish it was Bret.
That would have been hilarious. I'd love to watch Bret Hart pummel Bret Michaels. That would be amazing. Just work him over with that look on his face.
Yeah.
And then the Small Town Murder one will be, we're going to go back into the archives here, into the newspapers, and find a bunch of old-timey murders. And those are always
Yeah.
Just the funniest, craziest shit we've ever done. So that's always fun. Patreon.com/crimeinsports. All of that. And you will be a producer. So you will definitely get a shout out at the end of the show. Jimmie will mispronounce your name brutally while trying his hardest to get it right.
Absolutely.
And if you just want to be a producer and have good karma, you can do that as well over at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Right.
That said, oh boy, we're into the brain damage sports this week, Jimmie.
Yeah.
Brain damage again, which are always obviously fun.
Yeah.
Brain damage sports. We got the 70s and early 80s mixed into this.
Yeah.
We have cold case action.
What?
This is going to be a wild one. Let's get right into it.
All right.
With Willie Lee Shannon. Never heard of him, right?
Willie Shannon.
Willie Shannon, Willie the Cannon Shannon, as a matter of fact.
It's a good one.
Is his boxing name. It's a hell of a nickname.
Yeah.
Boxing names either have to be kind of clever, play on words, which is fun, or just or rhyming, or if you're a badass enough, it can just be threatening.
Yeah.
If you're like Mike Tyson, you're Iron Mike Tyson. It doesn't rhyme. It's no play on words. It's just he'll fuck you up. That's
it just states the obvious.
Just states what's going to happen to you. So, Willie the Cannon Shannon. And what a weird, interesting kind of this guy is almost like a Ron LaFleur story.
Yeah.
Where it all starts very late because of an early incident and shit like that. So it's a really, really odd story. Let's get into him here. And no one's ever, this is a story that you're going to hear and go, how the fuck did I not hear this story 100 times? This should be a story that you hear a lot. I don't know how this doesn't have a 30 for 30 or something. Okay. It's insanity. I don't know. I never heard of it before I researched this guy. I didn't know goddamn thing about this. He's a cruiserweight, light heavyweight, but he also dabbles in the heavyweight realm. So he's about 185 always when he fights that, which is just a terrible weight to be as a boxer. It's pretty much the worst weight you can be because nobody gives a shit about cruiserweights. No. They care about middleweights, and they care about welterweights, and they care about heavyweights, but that cruiserweight is just a stepping stone up. You know what I mean? It's just Evander Holyfield was a cruiserweight for a while and then said, well, if I want to be anything, I have to be a heavyweight.
Right.
So then he moved up to the heavyweight ranks, so not a good place to be, but his dream was to be the heavyweight champion.
That was Willie's?
Thought he could do it anyway. Yeah. Put on a couple pounds maybe. He's born November 10th, 1953. He is born down in Florida, and he's raised in Palmetto, Florida here.
It's on the east side, isn't it?
I believe so. I'm not sure. But it's rough going as a kid, apparently, for young Willie here. He is the home he's raised in, and this isn't a mansion or anything. This isn't like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's house or anything like that.
Palmetto, Florida.
It's not Uncle Phil's house. This is probably a small concrete block, 2-bedroom,
cockroaches
3-bedroom house.
are cockroaches. Why did I emphasize what?
Cockroaches.
It's a fancier cockroach. Cockroaches are palmetto bugs, James. That's what they are. And so being from anywhere that's palmetto, you're from Cockroach, Florida. That's what
this
you
is
are.
The belly of the beast, is what you're saying to me here. It's
not good.
Where it all comes from. This is like arachnophobia ground zero here. Just crawling from. There's a big hole in the middle of Palmetto, Florida, where it's just
bugs.
All the world's roaches are just constantly pouring out of.
The
climbing over each other. Cockroaches. Well, in this. Probably cockroach-infested home that he grew up in.
Sure.
He shared this home with his mom and I believe a stepfather from time to time and about 20 other kids.
Holy shit.
So we're talking 20-plus people in a small home growing up.
And these are all mom's kids? These are brothers and sisters?
No. This is some of mom's kids, some of like a stepdad's kids, some of like a sister, an aunt that died and her kids, and some of like it's a hodgepodge of different people with somebody has a bad situation, so that they have their kids for a while. It's one of those deals. So there's just a shitload of kids in there, which I mean, That's tough right there anyway. I mean, fuck, man. They always say he's kind of skinny growing up, and it's like, well, yeah, there's 20 kids in the house. Who the hell?
Cockroaches.
They're eating cockroaches, Jimmie. Who the hell can feed 20 kids in a legitimate fashion, like with food?
I do fine in terms of I eat, but I don't know that I could feed 20 kids.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Dude, think about that's a lot
of food.
You'd have to tell them, go forage. I don't know what to tell you. I can't feed all of you. There's too many of you. I can't feed an entire classroom every day.
You better catch dinner somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I get them a pole early and just be like, there you go. There's water around here. I don't know what to tell you. There's shit to catch. So he went to Lincoln High in Palmetto, which was, I don't know if, I mean, this is post-segregation, so it's not probably the law, but but actually late 60s, so things were things were still in the works of being desegregated, so I'm not sure, but it was an all-black high school that he went to, Lincoln High in Palmetto, and they said, everybody around said he was tall and thin and quiet and detached. Said he just wasn't real engaged. They said he projected a tough image and kind of kept to himself.
Yeah.
Some people were afraid of him because he didn't, talk a lot and shit like that. So, yeah, quiet people you got to look out for.
Yeah.
And one guy here, the high school coach, I'm not sure of what sport here. He's probably multiple sports, as a lot of coaches did back in the day, especially if the school didn't have a lot of money.
Back in the day, shit, in 99, James, when I was in school, our football coach was the basketball coach.
Wow.
And the wrestling coach.
How could he purport to have expertise in more than one sport? Honestly.
I don't think he had expertise. I think he was just one of the only males on campus.
He was just willing to show up.
Yeah.
He was willing to show up and he hadn't molested anybody, so they're like, that's the guy.
Is it $200 a month extra? I'll do it.
Yeah, I think back then you'd be like, okay, so this guy's like he teaches gym and he coaches 3 sports. That's a deal. Hire him. Yeah, he'll do anything. So
I think he's a driver's ed teacher and then 3-sport coach.
That's funny. Yeah, it's funny what the coaches taught. Like, were they just wanting to coach and got a teaching license to do that, or were they teachers that were like found an affinity for coaching,
but loved football and beer?
Yeah, like our baseball coach was like the health teacher.
Yeah.
And he really didn't do much. Like literally, he'd either teach that day or he'd just keep his head down and write things and never say a word to you the whole class. And you could do anything you want, and it wouldn't disturb him. And then
you have no idea what he's even writing. Could be working on a novel.
3 days a week. 1 week we do stuff. 3 days the next week we do nothing. It was like one of those deals. So I'm not sure, like, what his story was. Was that his dream to be a teacher, or did he just like coaching baseball? Like, I'm not sure what happened. So this guy, he says about the canon here, he says, quote, he was a skinny little nobody trying to make a name for himself. Jesus.
That's not very nice.
Skinny little nobody. He was a child, for Christ's sake. That's cold-blooded. How dare he not fill out and have something going on in his life when he's fucking sophomore with 20 kids at home sharing a room with him.
This little piece of shit.
You little asshole. You little fucking loser. That's what you are, mister.
What a
skinny
cockroach.
little nobody. You little cockroach. That was the Palmetto Cockroaches, I believe they were.
Yeah.
That was their mascot.
Lincoln High Cockroaches.
Yeah, like I tried to hire him as a mascot, but he said he wasn't interested. So I said, fuck you, you skinny little nobody.
That's so mean.
He went on to say, quote, Willie was too thin to play football, too slow for basketball, but he did play a little softball. We used to spar a little around the school, and he seemed to like that. So
played a little softball.
A little softball, I guess, in a gym class.
Was there a men's softball team?
I don't know if I've never heard of I'm sure it exists somewhere, but
it exists.
I've never heard of it anyway.
Never.
So I don't know if that was just in gym class or something.
He was just
in PE.
Bad.
He liked to.
He was bad at all the other sports, so he just played with the girls. Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, but the girls who are good at softball would mow him down if he wasn't any good at baseball.
Probably.
You have to be good. They're good at softball. Like, if you're not, they'll kick your ass. So I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, I don't know what his goddamn deal is. He also said, quote, "We didn't have any trouble from him at school. Just after school is when the trouble started."
Oh, all right.
So that's the problem with Willie here. He doesn't like school.
No.
He says he remembered feeling unhappy and bored in school and, like a kid in school.
Yeah,
unhappy
like a
bored.
Teenager.
I don't remember any day I was in school when I didn't feel unhappy and bored. Ever. Do you?
Even the happiest people at school are pretty fucking angry.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Even the happiest ones at school, if you said, hey, we used to have, like, if there was a giant snowstorm coming, like, they'd send us home early. Hey, there's a snowstorm coming. We have to leave. They'd be like, yay!
Good.
I get to get the fuck out of here. No matter how much you like school and well you do at it, your room is better. You know what I'm saying? It's just better.
Anywhere else, I'm jacked to be there.
Totally. So, yeah, unhappy and bored. You just got to kind of persevere through that. But he did not, and neither did I. I'm not saying, I understand, but he dropped out at 15, which is a little early. That's it's a little early to drop out, I would say. Yeah. It's too much. If you're 17, 18 and it's not working out, it's not working. But at 15, you can still turn it around.
Yeah, there's still, that's
10th grade.
Or earlier, right? You could be a freshman still at 15.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It depends on where your birthday falls. November, I'm not sure how the scheduling works, but
do I give him
got held back a grade?
Am I mad at him for not trying harder, or do I give him all that credit for figuring out that this sucks before?
He's like, oh, no, this isn't going to work at all. He figured it out at a young age. Now, I wish I would have thought of that. You know what I mean? Because I had very little value come out of the last couple of years of high school for me. Honestly, I didn't do anything with it. It wasn't like I learned much. So, I got to say,
the only benefit I have from it is that when I check that little box on a job application where it says highest grade of education, I click the earliest one. It doesn't say some high school. It says high school and then other stuff down. Yeah. You know what I mean? The only benefit is that I got a box to check.
Yeah, that's true. I just lie and check it because I'm not going to explain it to him. What happened? That's what I would do. So
I'm sure they don't check that anyway.
That's what I mean. They're not going to go that deep. That's like saying I have shoes. You know what I mean? They'd be like, I don't know. I doubt he has shoes at home. Like, he probably has shoes that he's wearing, I'm sure. That's something that they just take for granted. That, you probably graduated from high school. You're not an idiot like me.
So going forward, anybody listening, if you have not finished high school, just click you finished high school. They're not going to check.
Matter.
It's not like you're writing down I have a PhD in whatever the fuck I'm applying for. They'll check that probably.
You should probably try, though. You should probably try. Even though I've said repeatedly that if I knew how my life would turn out exactly and what I'd be doing with myself, I would have tried even less because...
I'm not saying if you're
really
in high school, drop out.
No, try harder.
Yeah.
Try harder. But if you're in your senior year and you're like 2 years worth of credits away from it, maybe that's not for you. Yeah. Maybe look into a trade or something at that point, because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, well, this isn't working. I got to figure something else out.
Or any job you apply for, just click high school. They'll believe
doesn't matter. Check. There you go. Now you're a high school graduate. Congratulations. So he apparently, after he drops out at 15, Willie kind of disappears for a while. He doesn't really, he's just kind of around, but he doesn't kind of, his old friends don't really know what he's doing anymore and shit like that. Like he just, it's strange, but it's not like he went like to another town to work for the railroad or something. He's just fucking off.
Yeah.
And basically, if anybody mentioned him, it was because he was in some kind of trouble at that point. It was, Willie's being this and Willie's doing that. Willie's fucking up. And Willie says about that, quote, you know how it is when you're 16 and riding around in a car with friends looking for something to do. He says, well, that was me riding around.
Hell yeah.
He said he was just riding around with his friends looking for something to do. It's 1969, riding around in the car with friends. Grace. This is grace. We have achieved grace here at 18 minutes, I believe. We're about into the show. But this is grace at this point, which it wasn't really that great of of a pre-grace, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
His climb to grace included sharing a room with 20 people and dropping out when he was 15, but still, this is grace if you think about the rest of his life.
Fantastic.
Well, if you think about what happened on July 4th, 1969.
Oh.
So this is like 4th of July, 1969.
Hell yeah.
This is pretty iconic shit right here. You know, this is
baseball's everything to America. It's awesome.
Oh, this is a big deal here. So Willie and two of his friends were riding around in a car. It's Florida, 4th of July.
Yeah.
Steamy.
Gross.
Florida in July.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been February in July was hell on earth. So, or February in Florida was hell on earth. So I have July horrible. So riding around, it gets to be later at night. Yeah. Maybe after some fireworks or some shit like that.
Oh my God! I just realized you're right. I still have spots on my forehead from Florida in February.
February.
Sunspots forever. Those are now mine.
Mid-February.
Mid-February sunspots. Thanks, Florida.
Yeah,
you fuck.
It's hard. And you live in Arizona, which is 4 feet from the sun.
Skin cancer capital of the world, and I can't deal with Florida February. That's nuts.
Gross down there. So it gets to be late at night. Like I said, maybe post-fireworks. I'm not sure. Yeah. They're driving around. One of the friends has a gun on him, which is not a good thing here. And turns out they go to a gas station and rob and assault a gas station attendant in Oneco, Florida. It's a KO gas station.
Yeah.
And they get caught for that. 2 weeks later, they all get arrested for it.
Wow.
So, yeah, they rob him. They beat this guy up a bit.
Oh, my God.
And then Willie is also convicted at the same time. He gets arrested. They also tie him to another action where he's convicted of robbing and beating a woman in Bradenton. He's 15, by the way, years old at this point.
This is why stay in school.
This is if the choices are boring science class and this, sit through it and look out the window. I don't know what to tell you, but figure it out. So he ends up being arrested for this, and he gets sentenced to. This isn't like a probation slap on the wrist thing. You young man may fuck off. Gets sentenced to 15 years in prison.
At 15 years old.
Yeah, he gets sentenced when he's 16. So,
oh my,
16 years old.
Even still 16, you're still doing all this life over again behind bars.
Essentially, whatever you've just done, let's double that up. There you go. Wow. You're going to do that, but do it in jail. And adult jail they're going to send him to, which is crazy. He's 15 years old, and I don't think it's probably going to be a lot of lessons to him. If you want to keep him away from older criminals is what I'm getting at. He might, but I think that at that point they look at it as, well, if you're doing armed robberies at this point, you might be past the point of saving. But if you're 15 and the kid's older, the other kids were driving, so that means they're older. So it means he's being influenced by older kids too. You don't like that. 15-year-olds are fucking stupid. 15-year-old boys are dumb as fuck. They're so stupid.
How many 15-year-olds did you know, though, that had they got caught for the things that they did, they'd be in prison for an unbelievable amount of time? You know what I mean? I know
a lot.
At least 15, 20 kids that
I was gonna say,
probably should have been in jail.
Oh, plenty. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Plenty. Jesus Christ. You heard, if you've listened to the Fishkill, New York small town murder episode, it's just plenty of these kids. But you just didn't get caught. Right. Luckily, this guy got caught, but we don't know if. I doubt this is the first robbery they've done. If normally you don't get caught, or if they're so clumsy at it they got caught on the first try. I'm not sure, but it's not like now where they'd be like, "Oh, pull the surveillance video and then we'll check all their cell phones and match them to the towers in the area." Like you had to have like a witness or fingerprints or something to, whatever. I mean, if they left the person alive, they probably picked them out of the lineup, I'm sure, but who knows? So he goes to prison, and he admits that they did it. It's not like he says that they, this is a false whatever. He says we did it. I'm an idiot. So there's that anyway. He says, quote, "My mother and sister were the only people who never once gave up on me. They stuck with me the whole time I was in prison." So he said everybody else abandoned him. Friends, family. The rest of the 19 kids in the house, nobody except for his sister. They wrote to him. They had to drive all, because he ends up in, I want to say, I have the number here somewhere, but it's like 15 different institutions he does time in. Jesus. They ship him. Yeah, they ship him all over the place, so they have to drive all over to see him, which is, it's a lot. It's taxing, for an older woman who's got this many kids to look after and everything else, and they didn't have a lot of money. Right. It's a lot. Just the gas money would be a lot here. This is the mid 70s too, so we're talking, or I'm sorry, the 60s, but then we go into the 70s, he's still there. He says, quote, when I was young, I came up rough. I caught a lot of hell in this town. When I was in prison, only 2 people came to see me, my mom and my sister. My own brother said, quote, let the N-word rot.
Oh, my.
Except, obviously, he expressed
Florida,
it.
Or Florida
hard R and all. So that's what his brother said.
A black guy that probably said it like a Klan rally.
Yeah, just because he's mad at his brother.
Right,
yeah,
just because he's got disdain for his actions.
No shit. So his first few months in jail, he said that he would smoke and drink and do all sorts of bad shit. He's called it, quote, smoking and cursing and drinking and doing everything bad.
Having a great time.
Having a good old time. Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like a goddamn country song is what it sounds like. Smoking and cursing and drinking and doing everything bad that I could do. Smoking and cursing and drinking and doing nothing but bad.
That's a sweet Friday night for me in 2003.
How we do. That's what I mean. That's a hell of a night right there.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So he ended up realizing that wasn't really getting him anywhere in jail, and he was getting infractions, and he knew he was going to have to stay in jail longer if he didn't. Right. He wants to get out. He's a young guy. He wants parole eventually here. Doesn't want to do the whole 15, I wouldn't imagine. So he started looking for shit that was more positive, and he ended up finding the Nation of Islam.
Okay.
And he joins the Nation of Islam and kind of steers him away from trouble, and then he goes and,
That may be the only religion that oftentimes when people find it, they figure shit out.
Well, like in jail, it's the Nation of Islam guys in prison are their own thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like, they don't fuck around, basically. Yeah. They have their own shit going on, but they don't, they're not in the mix with a lot of other shit. So that's a good one to stay out of trouble in, because, like, the people that are in your group will pull you in and be like, don't fucking do that, blah, 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 because you're like, in the flock or whatever. I don't know how
it's a religion of peace is what it is in jail.
In jail, it seems to be better off than other religions. I'm not sure. But, I mean, you see guys, too, that they find the hardcore Christian groups in jail where the guys are not they stopped eating people's faces and now they're praying to Jesus or whatever, which, you know what? Hey, if that keeps you from shanking your fucking cellmate once a month, then great. I don't care.
I'm all for it. Yeah.
Pray to whoever you want and enjoy yourself. So he said it got to the time that, he needed to do something. And he says, quote, there were times I wanted to kill, commit suicide, and murder. What? You'd have to flip the order, flip-flop on that order. That's you're going to have to murder, then suicide.
Yeah.
You can't do one and then the other. That track is a One Direction thing.
Yeah. He wanted to kill, period, suicide, murder, right?
He said wanted to kill, comma, it's written here, commit suicide and murder.
Well, I mean, you could delete either kill or murder.
Yeah. Kill, commit suicide, then murder people again after that. I've killed this guy, now I'm going to murder him because I've now killed myself. He's a little confused.
Speaking like a real college dropout or high school dropout.
Speaking like someone who dropped out at 15.
Yeah.
He says, quote, anything for attention. I wanted a big name and boxing helped me subscribe to that.
Okay.
So he finds boxing in prison as somewhere to unleash his aggression and something that he enjoyed. Good for keeping him in physical shape, and maybe something to do to keep his shit out of his, doing bad shit. He says, quote, my prison experiences got me started in boxing. The first fight I lost by 1 point to Joe Bogans of Tampa, who many boxing experts considered to be a top boxing candidate if he ever left prison. The only human to ever beat me is now dead. All of my fights are dedicated to Joe.
Wow.
This was after Joe died, apparently. I don't think he killed him. It sounds like he killed him, doesn't it? It sounds like, I killed the man, but now I'm dedicating all of my fights to him. And this song, smoking and cursing and drinking and doing everything bad.
This song.
All my fights.
Welcome to Wednesday night at the Poughkeepsie Steakhouse.
That is an inside joke, everyone, that you don't know, but it's pretty fucking hilarious if you were one of the 4 people who were there. It was very, very funny. Smoking and cursing and drinking and doing everything bad. That's our first single, Jimmy. Tell them about the Poughkeepsie Steakhouse experience.
Please tell them. It's so funny.
Okay, there's a place in New York. Jimmy was out here. We were recording. Now I'm out there, but last time when he was out here, we were recording, or out there. I said here. I'm sitting in the desert, and I go, he was out here. I'm used to being anyway.
With James at his place recording, and we went to, we're going to go to this place.
Yeah, it was a few miles away, and we were like, yeah, that's not too far or whatever from where we were at the time. After we were done recording, we were hanging out somewhere. We're like, yeah, we'll stop at this little place. It looks nice. And so we stop in. It's a Wednesday.
It is.
So we're like, it'll be empty.
To be dead.
The fucking parking lot is packed.
A couple high rollers like us, they'll be happy to have us.
Oh, they're going to be 3. A couple high rollers. A couple of high rollers. We're going to order Pepsis. So we're going to go, what's your cheapest bottle of wine? So
we'll have half of one of those.
We'll have a glass of it. So the parking lot's packed, first of all. And we're like, what the fuck is happening, right? So as we're pulling in, I'm driving. There's a truck pulling out of a parking spot in front of us, and it's a big
Dodge Ram, full-size truck,
like a big extended cab, long bed, the whole deal. Someone used it to work, it looks like. This guy's backing out, and when you back out, there's a car behind him, so you have to cut it so you turn to be able to get out. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? What's he doing? He just backed.
And he needed to go the other way because it's one fucking lane. He needed to go the other way. You're sitting in the driver's seat going, nope.
I said, nope, that's not going to work. Nope. As I'm saying that, he keeps backing up and smashes into a black Mustang, just plows into the bumper of it, and then like, oh my God, right? And it's one of those plastic bumpers that snaps back into place when you hit it. But I mean, he fucking popped this car to where it rocked it, and he like stops and looks for, oh shit, all right, well there's a goddamn car there, and he pulls forward. And then he sits there for about 5 minutes.
Sat in that truck for 5-10 minutes.
Just
waiting for
around,
us to leave.
Trying to sober up, I assume. I don't know what he was doing in there. So we parked and we just watched him to see what he would do. And then he pulled out and drove away.
And he left.
And we're like, okay.
And then I got his license plate number, but then I'm with you, so I subscribed to mind your own fucking business. And I promptly forgot his license plate number.
So that's none of my business. So, and to be fair, the car that it hit was like had a bunch of scratches on it and shit. Like
it was beat to shit.
We said this person's not going to notice that.
No,
for like a while. They might go, "What happened to my butt? I must have hit something." That's what they're going to say. They're never going to fucking notice it. So it's not like it was a pristine car and they're going to go, "Oh my God, my baby."
It didn't change anything about that vehicle.
No. So we cracked up laughing. Obviously, we drag ourselves into the place, and you can hear this ear splitting. Like a live, like just like a constant, like taking care of business beat. Just constant. Like it's like a repeat of like taking care of business and like, you know, Magic Carpet Ride. It's all that's going on in there right now. It's something from the Marshall Tucker Band. I'm not sure.
Spirit in the Sky. Something awful.
Just some shit going on. We're like, what is happening in here? We walk in, it's way louder inside, and there's a host that comes up to us, and he's about, I don't know, 21 maybe.
Yeah, at best.
And he's got, his brow is furrowed. He's just like,
he's got a wrinkly forehead. He's not happy about what's going on.
How many? And we're like, hold on, calm down. How long does this happen for? It's about 7:30, by the way, at this point. He goes, I don't know, at least 10. And we went, holy 10? Are you fucking kidding me?
Is there like an upstairs where we can get away from this shit? And he just shook his head. Oh, no. I would be up there.
Yeah, I would be up there. And we're like, 10 o'clock, we can't eat with this. He goes, oh, I don't blame you. Yeah, this is terrible. He goes, oh, I don't blame you. This is terrible. So we're like, yeah, we're going to go somewhere else. And he's like, yeah, totally understandable. Right on, guys. Have a good one. Thanks.
He goes, I would too.
I would too. Yeah, I would. That's what he said. If I wasn't stuck here working, I would too. So this is so bad it causes your employees to wish to flee.
Right.
This is in the middle of a shift.
Just a carousel, evidently, that James found out.
Oh, it is every Wednesday, and it's Bandioki. So I was like, well, that place is out on a Wednesday.
A carousel of mid-40s to late 50s men who really wish they could have been rock stars.
They're rocking it now. Yeah, they're like, we got a big gig this weekend, so we got to warm up with this. Come on, everybody, 1, 2, 3, taking care of business. Fuck! No. How many times do you think people want to hear taking care of business?
Just playing the soundtrack to every fucking car show in America.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's like, we got a big car show. Hey, there's a boat show this weekend. Let's look alive, guys. Come on, goddammit.
Look alive.
Fucking things ain't going to sell themselves. What do you think? The pretty girls are going to sell it? No. It's me and you playing Bachman Turner Overdrive fucking over and over again, buddy. That's the only way someone's going to buy a 30-foot fishing trawler. I don't know what the fuck they're buying.
Unbelievable. Anyway,
yeah,
so that's where he would play that song.
That's where that would be played is what I'm getting at.
Wednesday night at the Poughkeepsie Steakhouse.
Oh boy! So, but the food's good there. So
that's what I'm told. I'll find out one
Wednesdays
day.
And avoid Wednesdays and try the steaks. They're good. So anyway, he says this. Well, I'll say the end of the thing here. All of his fights are dedicated to the man who it sounds like he murdered, but he didn't. There.
Yeah.
So he says, "Yeah." This is a quote from him. Quote. Yeah, just like Ali. So I started to box, started to become an athlete, just like Ali, that's okay. It gave me something to do and something to work for. I don't follow those teachings so much anymore, but it was good for me at the time. So he became like a lapsed Nation member. But he said, like, just like Ali got through his, stuff with it, he said that helped him. So he lost the first fight, like we said, and then he says... Now, he fought a shitload of amateurs in prison, and he fought a little bit of amateur when he got out. At this point, this interview's from later on when he's been boxing, but he only had like 10 professional fights when this interview happened. He's claiming that at this point he's had 201 fights in and out of prison, and that he only lost that first one to Dead Joe.
Yeah.
So,
so are they sanctioned or not all sanctioned?
These are sanctioned, I guess. Okay. He was at the Lake Correctional Institution in Claremont in February 1976, and he started boxing, and he was trying to put some weight on. He only weighed 150 pounds. He's like 6'4", too, by the way.
Oh, my God.
So 150 pounds is very light for 6'4", because if you've seen me, I'm not a husky person, and I'm 90, 95 pounds, and I'm 6'4", so 150 is really skinny.
Sick.
That's like Snoop Dogg, early 90s skinny.
Right.
Where you're like, damn, somebody feed him. Fuck. Let's go.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real, The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Going on. So he says, this is Captain Lee Johnson, who's the recreational director at the prison. He said, quote, Willie was a model inmate. He was the kind of guy you could talk to. He spent many hours training. He was faithful to his routine. So there you go. They even impressed that guy. He said, in the ring, Willie was a cat. He was a good sportsman, too, but I don't ever remember him losing. I don't know how he would take defeat. So he doesn't know if he'd be a sore sport or not. I don't know. Or sore, what was the word I was looking
loser.
for? Sore loser, not sore sport. I was like, sport loser. But he did know that he took boxing seriously, and Willie kept saying when he gets out of jail, he's going to be a professional boxer, which is hard because he doesn't know when he's going to get out of jail and how old he's going to be. So it's hard to start like 30 being like, I'm going to be a boxer now.
Right.
That's a weird thing to do, kind of. No.
Guys that have been boxing for almost 20 years already by now.
Yeah, well, your peak was 3 years ago, so yeah. I don't know how we're going to do that. So the director there of the recreational department, as a favor to, because he liked Willie, he contacted Solomon McTeer, who is a fight manager based in Florida, and told him about this guy. He said, I got this guy in jail. He's going to get out one of these days, and he wants to box, and so maybe you want to come take a look at him. Solomon came in, took a look at Willie, and he told Willie that he told Willie to quote, or he promised Willie, quote, that I'll, quote, do the best I can to help you when you get out if it's your desire to be a champion. So that's what he said. Yeah. Willie says, you know what? I think this is an in their own words here, I think.
Terrific.
What do you say? Let's give them an in their own words here. Why not? Willie gets to speak, damn it. In their own words, quote, you show me somebody who never made a mistake, and I'll show you a person who never tried anything. I made mistakes when I was a kid, but I wasn't afraid to try things, even if they was the wrong things. In prison, I had a lot of time to get myself together, to decide to be something, to do something.
Okay.
So that's what he says there. In prison, he had the time to get it together. I made mistakes. I wasn't afraid to try things. Trying armed robbery, though, that's
a different, yeah.
It's okay to try. It's okay to be afraid to try armed robbery. Yeah. That's okay. It's a different kind of try.
Nobody will fault you for it.
Yeah, no one's going to go, I don't know, man. Put some effort in, you know? I think you could take it down without getting caught.
Right. So you founded eBay. Have you ever tried armed robbery?
Just wear a hat, pull it down low, be aware of the cameras. What the fuck, man? So, he was spent time in 13 different prison camps throughout Florida, like we said, and he is released on November 1st, 1977. Mm-hmm. So that is, he's 25 years old at that point, just 10 days shy of his 26th birthday.
He's got 9 to 10 years in prison at this point.
Yeah, he did 9 years in prison.
Wow.
So, that's his life. So he's almost 26. He's 6'4". He's about 180 pounds at this point.
Great.
And he decides that he's going to win the world heavyweight title. That's his decision.
That's his thing.
Yeah, I'm going to be 26 years old. I haven't boxed professionally at all. I think I'll win the world title.
I only need about 20 to 40 more pounds.
That's all. And I'm fine.
And I
can do it. I'm in. Yeah. And if I'm like the best boxer going, like Evander Holyfield was, I can win at 205. But more than likely not, because guys will just pummel me that weigh 250.
Right.
So He said that he wanted to be just like Muhammad Ali and be the champ, and he contacted the manager that we talked about, Solomon, and he started training and fighting, and he won a Golden Gloves tournament in Miami in 1978, and then he decides to turn pro. So 1978 now, so where he's pushing, Christ, he's getting up there in age. So he said that he did it, and he was ready to go. He says, quote, "Everybody knows I was locked up. They locked up my body, but freed my mind. Being in prison preserved me for a long time."
Yeah.
He's saying he's all preserved, ready to go, and he starts out his pro debut September 15th, 1977. Here he is, ready to go. So 77, I'm sorry, with the Golden Gloves tournament.
Okay.
He fights at the National Guard Arena in Daytona Beach.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. So this is right. I think they clear the ring out and have to set up shit for the boat show the next day when you're done, probably, right?
Taking care of business is still echoing in those halls.
You can hear it, definitely. Yeah. The guys are still disassembling their equipment. So he fights George the Moonport Mauler Holden.
Mm-hmm.
So there he is.
The guy's got 3 words for his fucking nickname?
Apparently Moonport is one word.
Okay, it's a place.
It's a place, yeah. I think in Florida, I would imagine.
Too many syllables. I don't know what it is.
Moonport
it's
Mauler.
Too much.
It's more syllables. Moonport Mauler is 4 syllables. George Holden is 3. So his nickname has more syllables than his goddamn regular name. That's not a nickname. That's an extended name.
Yeah.
So he's a 15-32-3 career fighter. So a journeyman.
Yeah.
Mid-level, but a lot of experience, though. That's, 50 fights. That's no joke there.
That's a lot.
This goes all 4 rounds, and it's a unanimous decision win for Willie.
All right.
He wins his first fight by decision, and after this, he just knocks the shit out of people, just knocks people the fuck out. So a journeyman knew how to not get knocked out in 4 rounds by a rookie, but other people don't. October 7th, 1977, just a couple weeks later, in St. Augustine, Florida, he fights Doug Farrell, who this is his pro debut and his pro finale as well. So it's his debut and his last hurrah in the same night. Well, that's a lot of champagne corks to pop there when you start and finish all at once. You got a lot of celebrating to do, It's a lot. So this is a knockout in the first round for the Cannon here. 2-0 for Willie. September 25th, 77, or I'm sorry, October 25th, 77, Orlando Sports Arena, Orlando Sports Stadium in Orlando.
Yep.
He fights Willie Goodman, who's 2-7 coming into this fight.
Battle of the Willies.
Oh, boy. His career, 5-24-1.
Oh, my.
5 wins, 24 losses. That
Jesus.
is a rough record, boy. It's his ass whooped.
Couple of Willies. It's a real sword fight.
This is a real sword fight here. There's going to be smoking and cruising and drinking. This is a TKO win for Willie, our Willie Cannon, not Willie, other Willie. Round 2, 3-0 for the Cannon, Shannon here. November 17th, 1977 in Gainesville, Florida. He's just doing a tour of every puke-stained fucking college town that they have here, and white trash tourist destination. Gainesville, yeah, definitely.
Is that University of Florida?
I
or
think that's university because Tallahassee is state, I think.
Yeah.
So this is versus Charles Banks, who's 0-1 coming into this fight. And his career record is he finishes all up at 0-2. So he has a very long, storied career here. This is a TKO win in round 1. Okay. So he knocked the desire to box right out of this fucking man. You see that a lot. You're like, well, that wasn't what I expected.
Right.
I'm done.
0-1 could be a fluke. I mean, you dropped your arm and you got drilled. 0-2, you're bad at this.
Yeah, decision. That could happen, something like that. But this, no. 0-2, I got to go. And if you especially TKO round 1, he just got bum rushed. That was that. So 4-0 for Willie the Cannon Shannon. Willie says, quote, "When you're fighting hard is when you're coming up and trying to improve your status. In the beginning, we were fighting anybody for $100, $200, $500, depending on the opponent's reputation."
Yeah.
That's this era here that he's fighting for $100. He's fighting once, twice a month.
Yuck.
For $100, $200, and just trying to
beating the shit out of yourself.
Yeah, well, he's winning first-round knockouts here the last couple, so he's beating the shit out of other people. But in the end, you're going to beat the shit out of yourself, too, because not everybody's going to go down that fast. Like again, January 17th, 78, he fights the Moonport Mauler again. And we know he's tough.
Yeah.
And he knocks Holden down in the 4th round, actually. But it ends up going the distance again.
Great.
But the Cannon wins a unanimous decision. So it's 5-0 for Willie. April 10th, 1978. This is at the Other Place nightclub in Jacksonville. Ooh, the look on your face right now when I said that. I said every word I said, Jimmie got, like, he twisted his face, contorted it, but not, the facial expression didn't get, like, progressively more horrified. It was different facial expressions. It was like, ooh, like you had a.
I looked like when Tom and Jerry. It's the cat, right? He's the cat. No, Tom's the cat. When Tom every time he gets like some poison, he grabs his throat and then makes like 12 different faces.
Yeah, his eyes pop out, then his tongue comes out. He's got his tail goes fucking stiff. Yeah. That's what he said. Other Place nightclub. And then Jacksonville, you're like, that was when like your eyeballs came out attached to the cords.
So I realized it's poison.
Oh, God, it's poison. It's in Jacksonville. No.
The Other Place nightclub.
Ugh, the Other Place.
In Jacksonville.
In Jacksonville. Ugh. Imagine what the floor of that place looks like at 4 o'clock in the morning.
What the place looks like.
Never mind that. The bar top. Fuck the floor. The bar top has semen on it. This is disgusting. Right? This is not good, I think, right?
Whoever sat here, threw up, and came. Why?
At the same time? What is this? Oh, God. So he fights at the Other Place nightclub. He fights Rocky Stevens.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that's his real name, Jimmie?
It is. It's definitely his name.
His real name is Stephen Edward Chadwick.
What?
He's like, well, that doesn't sound very tough. I'll go by Rocky Stevens. Sounds tougher, right?
Uh-huh.
Stephen Edward Chadwick.
Now he's his name in it.
He's got to keep it going. He's 5-0 though coming in.
Really?
So this is 5-0 versus 5-0 right here. This is a contender.
Yeah,
a good fight. Except Rocky Stevens' career record is 6-27.
Oh no!
So something happened during this fight that ruined him forever, basically. And I think it's that.
Jesus Christ! Did Willie bite his leg off?
Well, he knocked him out in the first round, so I think maybe that was it. Destroyed his confidence, and
and his frontal lobe,
and probably gave him a little brain damage. Never the same guy again.
Wow.
6-0 for Willie, though. He's rolling right along. Rocky, not such a great life. He drools when he smiles now, so that's a problem.
Forevermore.
May 23rd, 1978, at the Orlando Sports Stadium, he fights Alvin the Blonde Bomber Domini.
Hell yeah, he sounds
the Blonde
hot.
Bomber. Jesus, these are fucking bad nicknames, man. The Blonde Bomber, Rocky Stevens. He's 1-0 coming in, though, so he's ready to have a big career, but he finishes that big career 11-13, so it doesn't go how he expected. This is goes into the second round, but Willie knocks him out in 25 seconds into the second round, so that's that. 7-0 for Willie. July 27th, 78 in Palatka, Florida. This is a small place that actually I have a small town murder from there. That's
really
pretty gross. Yeah.
Right.
So this is some trash right here, boy. This is oh boy. I don't even know how to describe Palatka, Florida to you, but it's interesting, and especially back then, because Florida. Like, you can make fun of Florida all you want now, but, like, the 70s, that shit was still just like a hickey swamp also. Right. It wasn't, it wasn't like all suburbs. It was a lot of, like, sticks, and that shit was weird back then.
Yeah.
He fights Willie Goodman again for some reason.
Really?
I think he made a statement about with Willie. He knocked him out in the second round. That's enough.
There's going to be a trilogy about this?
I guess, man. I don't know.
Sword Fight 2. Let's go.
Sword Fight 2. 2-10 Willie. Like, I think I can take him this time.
Yeah.
And again, Willie the Cannon knocks him out in the second round. So, like, that's twice now. Second round. Can we not do this anymore?
Stop coming around, Willie.
Leave me alone. Jesus. 8-0 for Willie the Cannon Shannon. August 8th, 78, Orlando Sports Stadium. He fights Walter Santamore, who's 12-3 coming in.
Oh.
So, promising. Finishes his career, though, 20-23. not as promising. Yeah. So this TKO round 2 for Willie the Cannon Shannon, 9-0. This is fucking wild.
This criminal can fight.
He can fucking fight, I'm telling you. So here we go. September 3rd, 1978, Orlando Sports Stadium versus Tom Nixon, and not Nixon with an X, Nixon CK.
CKS?
Weird. I don't know if I've ever seen Nixon spelled like that.
I've seen Dixon spelled like that.
Dixon, a bunch of times, but not Nixon. 2-3 record coming in for this guy. Finishes his career 3-5. So a real legend in the sport here.
Yeah.
This is a TKO in the second round for Willie the Cannon, making him 10-0. Now, Nixon knocked him down in the second round.
Oh,
actually.
First time?
So, first time. And he says later on he's talking to some kids, and Willie the Cannon says, quote, Nixon knocked me down, and everyone but Solomon and me thought it was it. But I got up, and I hit him and knocked him out. That's it. So he tells a group of kids that who are very excited to hear it. He likes to hang out at this point, and he's trying to give back and talk to some kids now. Maybe keep them out of the troubled path that he went down, is what he says here. Yeah. He goes, he's at the Bradenton Boxing Club, which is apparently on 9th Street West, between a liquor store and an empty vacant lot and an empty vacant storefront. Yeah. That's where a boxing gym should be, though.
Yeah.
That's like a good place for a boxing gym. You need to.
If it's there, I assume it has gotten people the fuck out of here, and that's what I mean. That's what it's for. Yeah.
If you've seen, there's boxing gyms in Phoenix that I've gone to with the guy I knew that are like, they produce champions, and they're in the worst places, and it's a fucking dump. And it's 5 champions came from here in the last 10 years. You're like, whoa, holy shit.
Just if your appointment to train is too late, you better be tough.
Yeah.
Because when you leave here, it's going to be dark.
Dude, it was summertime, and there was like maybe 7-year-olds doing push-ups on their knuckles outside on the hard dirt. You know how in Arizona that's scrapey, that's like sandpaper, that dirt.
Is that
in
the one
summer
on Roosevelt and 7th Ave? That one?
I'm not going to say where it was. It wasn't that one. It was a different one. But
that one's scary too.
This was South Phoenix, so it was.
Boy, it was south of the river bottom.
It was the hood, it was. Boy. But it was, it was interesting. So anyway, it was quite the interesting building, because it didn't look like it was going to stand much longer. That was the main problem with it. Looked like it was going to fall if anybody hit a heavy bag too hard. So he's there and hanging out there. This gym opens in the evening for whoever pays $5 a month to use it. It costs $5 a month, and you can come there whenever you want. In the evenings, it's usually kids and boxers. It's like a boxing gym, so obviously. A lot of the kids are between 8 and 16, and a lot of them are they're fuck-ups. They're trying to stay off the streets doing this. It's like The Wire, basically.
Right.
This is like Dennis Wise's joint. He's trying
problems there.
Keep some kids off the street. And the guy says all he cares about is that the kids don't do anything like that while they're at the club. Otherwise, he doesn't care about their background, doesn't give a shit what they've done, whatever. So that's good. The boxers are also guys. They're early 20s, aspiring boxers who are truck drivers and bricklayers and shit like that. That are coming in. There's a lot of people there though. When Willie would come by to stop and box, they said everybody would stop and watch him because his punches sounded different. And there's a difference between a contender and a wannabe. It's just that it's a difference between shooting a bullet and throwing it. You know what I mean? It's just
when you throw,
it's different.
If I threw you, if I had you catch me and I was just pitching at you, there would be no pop in that glove, James.
It just sounds different. You can hear a pop and go, what's that?
What the fuck was that?
Baseball coaches can hear a glove and be interested in somebody.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. And it's the same thing in boxing. You can watch someone hit a heavy bag and go, oh, yeah, that's different than most people.
Look at this guy with this fancy shit. Yeah.
Look at all this fancy shit. That's why. Okay, I'll say it now. That's why Jake Paul beat a good MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Because MMA fighters aren't concerned about hands as much as other shit, and that's not even an insult to MMA fighters, because if that guy's been fighting for years MMA, he's it's training. Your body and your mind is trained to do certain things in sports. That's why people don't do well transferring to different sports generally, because it's muscle memory of what you're doing. So if you're and even just whatever, if you're an MMA fighter, you're used to having to watch people's legs, their feet, that they're going to dive for you and all that kind of shit. So a hip movement might distract you and get you punched in the fucking face. Right. Because you're more concerned with a guy's kick or with the way he, does whatever, the way he comes in and tries to fucking, I don't know, grapple you or some shit.
Same reason that Floyd Mayweather destroyed Conor McGregor, and it wasn't even close.
That's what I'm saying, and that's a big deal. So Jake Paul can keep fighting, I don't know, tiny basketball players. I don't know why that's supposed to. Here's a guy much smaller than me with no boxing experience.
Right.
Why isn't it impressive that I beat him up? No, it's not. It's not impressive at all. Very, very unimpressive.
And your brother is going to get destroyed by Mayweather too.
And the MMA guy, that's a quote professional fighter, but he's not a boxer. That's not a professional boxer. And anybody who you could take a guy, and Mayweather's old and tiny. This guy outweighs him by 50 pounds. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe if he gets a lucky punch in, he'll be able to
He will
knock
not
him
get
out.
a lucky punch in.
That's what I mean. No one's been able to hit Mayweather for 25 years. Right. The best in the business. We've seen Manny Pacquiao couldn't fucking hit this guy. You know what I mean? So how the hell
how's Logan Paul going to muster up a punch?
If the ref lets him bum rush him and hold him in the back of the head and wallop him, I don't know how the hell. But
if Logan gets to hold him with his left hand by the neck, he still won't be able to punch him.
No, because he'll be on the other side of the ring before he knows it. Where'd he go?
He'll be able to bob and weave in his fist.
So I would say anybody, like any of these fighters that we just talked about, the guys like, he ended up 11-13. That guy, he would kick the shit out of both the Pauls at the same time.
Yeah.
They could switch during rounds. They could fucking come at the same time. He would kick the shit out of either one of them. A man who gets punched.
Right.
In the face for that's the other thing too. The jaw, the fucking chin of a pro boxer, especially a heavyweight or a cruiserweight pro boxer. You could hit that guy with a fucking cinder block and he's going to stand there and look at you because they're just used to getting punched in the face. So
Logan Paul better bring a gun if he wants to. Yeah. That's the only way he's going to win.
That's what I mean. The first time he hits somebody with all they have and the guy doesn't budge, he's going to go, oh shit.
Oh my
I'm in
God.
deep trouble. Now he's going to hit me. Fuck.
I can't do that over and over again.
What do I do back when he hits me? This isn't working. So anyway, that's my take on that shit anyway. So he would do all of this shit and train and everybody would stop and watch. December 12th, 1978, Orlando Sports Stadium. He fights Elton Armstrong, who's 2-3 coming in, 2-6 in his career. Yeah. So not a good fighter. TKO in round 1. 11-0 for Willie. But, I mean, this is a lot of tomato cans here. This is not a lot of good fighters he's been fighting, honestly. Next fight, February 22nd, 1979, at the Jantzen Beach Ice Arena in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, he got out of state, huh?
Yeah, he ends up moving up to Oregon to train for a while. Mm-hmm. And he almost gets a fight with Muhammad Ali because of it, as a matter of fact.
Really?
We'll talk about. He was in the running for a fight where they were actually negotiating with a TV network for it and everything.
In the 70s?
In 1980.
Wow.
Ali was making a comeback here. So he fights John Klein. He needs a nickname. Yeah. John Klein. John Klein is 0-2 coming in and 0-5 for his career. Not a good thing for John Klein. This is a knockout in round 4, though. So John Klein held on anyway. That gave him hope to fight a couple more fights and lose those. He's 12-0 now, Willie the Cannon Shannon, and he's doing very well. And now he's saying that he's going to his manager wants him to concentrate, wants him to move away from his girlfriend and his mother. He's got a girlfriend named Kathy. Move away from Kathy. Move away from your mother. No distractions, and you're going to go and fight. And that's it. That's how he ends up getting out of Bradenton. And Willie says, quote, you know what I want to do? After I win the title, I want to come back to Bradenton and open up a gym for kids here. There's going to be a big parade when I come back. Keep that in mind, by the way. Big parade he expects when he comes back. It's a different kind of parade he gets later on. This is more flashing lights than most parades, I would say. So We'll talk about that. He went there. His mother, I guess, when he went to visit his mother, there was a reporter there. His mother was hanging out at the Bradenton Senior Center, and because all of her friends wanted to meet Willie because he's moving up in the world here. His mother's name is Lou Hester. Lou Hester.
First name?
One word.
Yeah.
First name.
Wow.
Lou Hester. Lou Hester.
It's like a coach.
And,
college football coach.
Lou Hester from Ohio State. Lou Hester, University of Wisconsin. Nice to meet you. We got a great recruit class this year. I feel like the offensive line is the best it's been in, honestly, probably a decade. At least since I've been here. It's the best offensive line we got. We got the blue chip quarterback. I think we're ready to make a run at the Rose Bowl.
We got 6 kids out of Alabama because they just want to come perform for Coach Lou Hester.
They just love Lou Hester. Lou Hester, nobody recruits like Lou Hester. If Lou Hester gets in your living room, you're coming to his school. That's all there is to it.
All 6 of these kids wanted to go to Alabama. Alabama wanted them. Then they heard that Lou Hester wanted them. They came to Wisconsin.
That's it. He came over. He brought a crock pot with a bunch of chili in it. And, he just knows how to win people over. It's his famous Lou Hester chili, and it's delicious. And then also he performed a song, smoking and cruising and drinking and doing everything bad. People were like, this fucking guy has talent. I want to play for him. He's like, now I'll break out my steel guitar. That's for my next track.
Lou Hester.
Lou Hester. Hey, Coach. So he walked into the senior center and said, hey, Coach, how's it going?
Yeah.
And all the elderly women liked him, and they all said, they were all very excited. All the old ladies were excited to see him, and his mother was all proud. And
of course.
He said, quote, I know you all been hearing about me, and I'm glad to meet all of you. My mama told me y'all were praying for me while I was in the ring in Orlando, and I appreciate it. I won, And
it worked.
That's it. He says later on to the reporter that's with him, quote, I've always liked older people. Why, there's a bunch of old ladies who live where I do in Eustis, and they all say they're glad to have a boxer around to defend them. Keep in mind that. He's going to defend old ladies.
Oh, he's like the Batman?
Yeah, that's what he said. And he tells the old ladies that. And then he says, anyway, y'all keep praying and I'll keep winning. And they all clapped. And he said, I have to say that they all the women are like, he's so nice. He loves his mother so much. And what a nice boy. The one woman said, you've got a fine boy, Lou Hester, screamed out to her. And they were clapping for him and everything. So he's the success story. That's come from nothing to script. He is John Goodman in Raising Arizona, just plunging his face through the mud and fucking extracting himself from the muck and the shit he wants to be the world champion. So let's see if he can do it. March 13th, 1979, he's got an exhibition fight on some small card. It's just a tune-up with headgear and shit on some small card somewhere. And he was supposed to fight against a guy named Steve Moyer, and Steve Moyer didn't show up.
What?
He went out there, he had his headgear on, and then the other guy never came out. That's what happened. So,
can you get fired from boxing for that? For
I mean,
no
I don't
call,
know
no show?
I don't know if you have who you call, if there's a supervisor you need to contact for this, and you can have your friend punch you in.
Right.
I don't know how it works. But anyway, what he did was he just basically shadow boxed in the ring for a while.
He went out to work anyway.
With headgear on, and the crowd booed the fuck out of him for doing it. They thought there was going to be a fight, so 1,000 people booed the shit out of him while he sparred in the ring and with no one.
That's embarrassing.
That's not a good look. You just go, all right, well, I can do this in the dressing room.
Right. I
don't need a ring to fucking just pretend. So, he moves to Portland here in April of 1979. He's there, and he goes to Portland, and he basically had another manager named Mike Morton as a fight manager, and he goes to watch Willie, and he says Willie has promise, and he signs him to a 5-year contract.
Oh.
So it's a contract with Solomon also, so it's all of them mixed in there because he's the trainer, and then this guy's the manager. So they take him out to Portland, and this is away from all his family and all of that. The Solomon says we weren't getting any fights in Florida, which we can attest to. They were all tomato cans. Nobody was any good. So I contacted Mike Morton, a personal friend of mine for 20 years. You follow? He's asked the guy you follow. I think the reporter probably followed.
Out west. Confusing yet?
Yeah, I've known the guy for 20 years. You follow?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot.
Hold on a minute. Is that this many? And he starts taking his socks off.
He does it twice.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get my sock off. Wait. I only have two hands.
Is it this many?
Is it this many? Yes. Okay. I follow then. Then I guess I follow. Fuck it. He says, out west where Morton is, they got the fights. They got him in Portland. So, he said, quote, Willie is now a 4-figure fighter.
Oh.
So he's making over $1,000 for a fight. 4-figure fighter. He splits the prize money evenly with the boxer, by the way. So Willie only gets half of his money.
That seems unfair.
Yeah, a 50-50 split is pretty fucked. That's not right. One guy's getting punched in the head. I don't care how much promoting you're doing. Right. I'm getting punched in the face. This is crazy. I could literally die doing this. You can't.
Don King wasn't taking half, right?
He was probably taking more than half from guys like Tyson and the real fucking rich guys. But on paper, he wasn't. But in the end, that's what he'd end up doing after he put in all of his horseshit costs and all that sort of thing. And he basically said, well, movie studios do this. Why can't I? You know, there's the old famous stories of these blockbuster movies that were -- for 10 weeks and they still haven't showed a profit.
Yeah.
You know, so that's to keep people from getting their money on the back end.
Jesus.
It's the Mike Reese is a Simpsons writer who's been there since the beginning, and he has 1% of the Simpsons, and they every fucking quarter he gets a profit statement saying that they've never made any money, the Simpsons. Literally, he's never gotten a dime in back end. The Simpsons has never made $1 in profit on anything, merch, all that shit. As
video games,
says. Yeah,
it's so much.
According to Fox, they've never made $1. So there's that. Fucking awesome. So
good for you, Matt Groening.
Yeah. Now they says part of Morton's half is recycled into Willie's life. He says that he pays for his apartment, his trainer, his vitamins, and his trips home. Oh. So there's that. Whatever remains after those expenses, he said he splits with Solomon. That's how that works. So he says from there's a lot of fights in California. Vegas is close. It's a good place to be. Now, Morton says, I can't do the fighting for Willie, but I can back him. They like him out here. They know him by a different name, Willie the Cannon Shannon. This is when he starts getting that.
Yeah.
He said, I intend to make his record 25-0. There you go. He says that he expects Willie to fight in a televised match sometime this year, possibly for $30,000. Possibly. That's what he's saying.
All right.
Willie's getting ready to go out and fight one fight here, and he's got a funny quote here. He says, when I get into that ring, it's wartime. I don't want a long night, but if it happens, I'll deal with it. I don't want a long one. You can't be nice in the ring. You've got to realize you're going to hurt someone. Then he says, sure, I'm nervous. He said, ain't you? Hey, did you hear my new name? Willie Shotgun Shannon.
Oh.
He's calling himself Shotgun, which to me is not nearly as threatening as a cannon.
No.
People have survived being shot with a shotgun.
Yeah.
If I shot you with a cannon, you would not survive it.
Right.
It's a, I mean, I'd rather be a cannon than a shotgun is what I'm getting at.
And it rhymes. Shannon the Cannon Briggs sounds fucking horrifying.
It sounds really horrifying. Yeah, it does. That's exactly right. I guess he stole it from this guy.
Maybe he did.
Look at that. So his next fight here at the Jansen Beach Ice Arena, Portland, Oregon, he fights, this is a great name, Jim Ingram. You know what his nickname is?
The Ingrown?
Beam. Jim Beam Ingram.
Oh, fantastic.
That's his...
Yeah. He's taking shots.
I'm just an old drunk. I don't care. He fights for dinner. That's his fucking... He's a journeyman, 9-5-2 coming in, finishes his career 12-16-2. So, but he'd kick either one of the Paul's asses or both.
Yeah.
This goes all 10 rounds, which this is the first time Willie's gone 10, so that shows he's got some stamina too. Unanimous decision win for Willie as well.
Good.
So he's 13-0. Look at Willie here. This fight boosts him up to Ring Magazine's number 8 heavyweight boxer in the United States.
Oh.
He is now a contender for the heavyweight title.
Number 8.
Number 8. He made $1,000 for the fight. Mm-hmm. So he was very excited for that as well. That was $1,000 fight. Not bad. He says, quote, I'm training all the time now. I'm preparing myself for anything that comes my way. He doesn't care. He does fights. He does promotions. He'll do exhibitions. He recently gave a boxing demonstration and a talk at an Oregon juvenile home where he said, quote, they got some super kids who liked me. Yeah. He's real happy there. He likes doing that kind of shit. He says he likes to go to Bradenton every once in a while. He misses his family and friends. But, he said, quote, if I'd have stayed in Florida, I'd be doing the same things I was doing before. I can't help my family from there. I needed to get away and go with a new opportunity. But he says someday, when he's champion, he'll return to Bradenton and collect his parade.
All right.
He'll collect his parade and he'll build a juvenile recreation center. He said, quote, something we never had here when I was a kid. It's easier for me to return home now that I know I don't have to stay here, which is hilarious. That's the greatest quote ever.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to return home now that I know I don't have to stay here. I think a lot of people have thought that exact thought, but
I can go back there when I know it's feasible for me to just get the fuck out whenever I want.
Absolutely, totally. I think how many people have thought that but didn't put it in such succinct language,
Yeah.
He really nailed it.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them, or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer.
I can really show you how to make some money.
And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
He said, quote, my manager told me to come back home, to go to the places where I used to be. I want to see the people I used to hang out with to see what they're doing. You have to remember where you come from to know where you're going. And I'm going for the title, and I'm going to get there. He's ready to goddamn go. Jesus Christ. He says at this point, the hardest thing is time. That's his worst opponent because, he's getting older and he's got to rush through this.
And
he's got his
10 years of my good fighting time in the fucking joint.
In the joint. He's got his girlfriend, Kathy, by his side. He's got a perfect record.
Yeah.
Sparkling. Grace, too.
He graced it up again?
Grace also, let's just say here.
Okay.
Grace, T-O-O. Or just 2, either one.
Yeah.
Grace 2.
Yeah.
Here we go. By the way, during this time, I found this article in the paper, in the Bradenton paper there, and I also found it very funny because right next to this article, they had the list of the top Billboard singles and albums, the top 10 from May 20th, 1979.
Oh,
and
my.
Like, we need to talk about this shit. So
what
just
could they
for a
possibly
moment.
Be?
Number 1, you don't know the number 1 song?
In 79?
May of 79, Jimmy.
Is it a Stones song?
No.
What is it?
It is Peaches and Herb reunited.
What?
And it feels so good.
That's the number 1 song?
Reunited. And that's the number 1 song. Top Billboard single that week.
Wow.
Number 2, Hot Stuff, Donna Summer.
Yeah.
Some hot stuff, man.
Stuff, baby, this evening.
Oh, my God. Number 3?
Yeah.
The Village People in the Navy. Song about sucking dick on a boat. Number 3.
That is fantastic.
That is awesome. Number 4, Stumbling In, Susie Quattro and Chris Norman.
Nope.
I don't know who that is, actually.
I know who Susie Quattro is, but I don't know that song.
I don't know that song at all. Number 5, Good Night Tonight by Wings. I don't know if that's the Wings, Paul McCartney and the Wings, or I don't know what that is. Bee Gees, Love You Inside Out, number 6.
Yeah.
The Jacksons, I assume, whatever remaining.
God, I forgot how fucking long disco held on.
Oh, it was on for a while here. And Jacksons, I believe this is post-Jackson 5 after Michael was doing his own thing. So this is like the 4 remaining Jacksons. Shake Your Body here. It was Michael's would have been different. It would have been Show Me Your Butthole. It was a different song.
Stare at that Peter Pan cutout.
Number 8, Cher, Take Me Home by Cher.
Jesus.
Number 9, He's the Greatest Dancer by Sister Sledge, so more disco. And then number 10, Blondie with Heart of Glass, so something fucking decent to round it out.
Yeah.
And the top albums I'll go through very quick. Breakfast in America by Supertramp, the number 1 album.
Okay.
Supertramp, number 1. Number 2, Too Hot, Peaches and Herb, baby. They got that number 1 hot single, man. Number 3, Bad Company. Yeah. Desolation Angels.
Hell yeah.
They sing Drinkin' and Cruisin' and Smokin', I believe.
Probably do.
Minute by Minute by the Doobie Brothers, number 4. The Bee Gees are number 5. Van Halen 2, number 6.
Okay.
So Bee Gees and Van Halen being back-to-back in a chart is just so strange.
Yeah.
It's a very strange time. We Are Family over here, Sister Sledge. I got all my sisters and me.
Yep.
Number 8, Village People, Go West. Blondie, number 9, and then Donna Summer with Bad Girls.
What a weird time in American history music.
It's such a mix.
It's where disco's ending and we're picking up that fucking 80s rock shit. It's about to happen.
Yeah, disco
Van Halen's
ending.
huge. Yeah,
New Wave is there too in there a little bit, and then there's Van Halen, which is a whole different thing. And they're all kind of just mixed like a weird dice hand.
That's weird.
It's like you got dealt a strange hand and Go Fish, and you're like, do you have any Village People? Yes. Yeah, weird. Okay, sure, why not? So he fights July 26th, 1979 at the Jantzen Beach Ice Arena in Portland. He fights Charlie Polite.
What?
I don't know if his name's Polite or something, but it's Polite. Polite.
It's not a good name for... That sounds like a TV show host for a kids show.
Yeah, Charlie Polite.
Yeah.
I'm not going to molest your kids. Nice to see you.
Welcome to Blues Clues. I'm Charlie Polite.
Charlie Polite. Charlie Polite weighs 220. And Willie's 185.
Charlie's a big boy.
Yeah, he's fighting heavyweights now. He's just a legit heavyweight, and Willie is not. So, but Charlie Polite is 18-37-3 coming into this fight.
Yikes.
He's so polite he had let his opponents win twice as many as he did. That's very polite. And this is Charlie's last fight because he was so polite he wanted to make room for others on these cards to be able to fight.
He's been opening a lot of doors for people, James. That's what makes him so polite.
He's so polite. No, after you. No, you hit me. So this is a KO in the 4th round over Charlie Polite, 14-0 for Willie the Cannon Shannon. And during this fight, though, he breaks his hand is the problem. This becomes a problem for him. He fractures his right hand and breaks his right hand all the time now.
Not good.
Everybody says, all of his sparring partners say this affects his psyche in the ring because they said he doesn't hit as hard.
Well, yeah.
It's like when a basketball player blows out their ACL, the first few times they go to dunk, they're not pushing off quite as hard because they don't want it to happen again. So
they're doing some layups for a while.
It's one of those here. So a lot of people say, he doesn't say it, but a lot of his sparring partners say he kind of lost some of his spunk after that.
Yeah.
He wasn't the same kind of guy. Wasn't as reckless and going after you. So he said, quote, "My right hand snapped when I knocked him down the first time in the first round." He said, "My hand was hurting from the first on, but I wasn't about to quit. I'll soak it in ice overnight, and if the swelling doesn't go down, I'll have it x-rayed in the morning." And then he was broken. So there's that. He's still fighting again 2 months later, September 30th, 1979.
That's not healed.
Not at all.
No.
He's fighting at the Sahara Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas here. And he fights Leroy Caldwell, who's 211 pounds, by the way. Willie weighs in at 187 for this fight.
Yikes.
So, and that's him. That's as much as he was going to weigh, because he's not like, trimming down to make weight. He's trying to be as heavy as he can. Yeah, this guy, 22, 21, and 5 coming in. Mediocre. Willie gets knocked down in the 8th round in this fight, actually, but it goes all 10, and he gets a unanimous decision. It was pretty comfortable on all the cards, bringing him to 15-0. This fight, he broke his hand during the fight again, and during this fight, he breaks his hand. Sylvester Stallone is there, and Sylvester Stallone comes into the ring afterwards. And in front of some reporter says that he broke his hand and then went the whole distance to win the fight. He goes, "This guy's the real Rocky right here."
Oh, my God.
So he's going to use that for the rest of his fucking life.
How many times has Sylvester said that to people, though?
Every boxer he's ever encountered.
Yes.
I thought the same thing. He's got to be so, "No, pal, you're the real Rocky." Like, don't beat me up. I'm 5'4", so you're the real Rocky. Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? I'm tiny and rich. Please don't hit me. You're the real Rocky. Yeah, great. Hey, you're the real Rocky. I think about it. I'm just an actor. You're the real Rocky. I think so.
I promise you, Sylvester, nobody thinks you're the real Rocky.
No. Well, maybe I'll find a place for you in the movie, like preliminary fighters or something.
Maybe you're a sparring guy.
Maybe like someone I'm like, like hits me too hard while we're sparring, I don't know, something like that.
I have a tiny meltdown and beat you senseless in the ring, and then everybody in the papers says Rocky goes crazy.
Rocky's turned into a real dick.
Yeah.
Beats up his sparring partners now. I won't hit you for real, and I don't want to, you're a real Rocky and everything.
It's in the script,
Willie says, quote, "I'm very, very cool in the ring. I take my time. The man who hits and moves away lives to fight another day." That's his little rhyme that he's come up with. The man who hits and moves away lives to fight another day.
All right.
I submitted that to Dr. Seuss, but I haven't heard back yet. We'll see. It's a book called Throttle on Pop. I don't know. It's called Pummel Pop. I'm not sure. He says, "I've got my speed. I'm putting on weight. Boxing is a smart man's game. You've got to know when and where and what to move. I'm not trying to catch up. I'm trying to catch on. The wheels are in motion."
Okay.
What the fuck are you talking about?
He's just slobbering words right now.
It's like a Dusty Rhodes promo. Like I don't know what he's saying, but I think it sounded cool.
Right.
It's really weird. So February 24th, 1980, the Tropicana Hotel and Casino in fabulous Las Vegas. Here he is. Again, he fights, Jim Beam Ingram.
Why?
I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah, TKOs him in the 3rd round. He's 16-0. So there's that. Yeah. Right after that, he announces he's a ring announcer for a small boxing card in Florida. Some little tiny thing here.
I mean, it gives credence to what you're talking about.
Yeah, people, and he's like a local kind of half-ass celebrity at this point. I guess the card is delayed a bunch, and like he's just left in the ring to wait for the boxers to come out.
Okay.
So he just starts like talking shit in the ring and having fun and doing all this shit here. It's pretty fucking funny. He says, quote, "They are not that's it. Both the guys, okay, there was 2 fights that were supposed to happen.
Yeah.
An opponent didn't show up in both fights. So
I guess have the ones that show up fight.
The 2 that showed up boxed an exhibition because it wasn't a signed match for whatever. So they just boxed an exhibition, and Shannon over the microphone of the PA is talking, and he says, quote, "They're not trying to KO each other." Shit like that. He says, and then one guy lost, and he says, "No one who steps in this ring is a loser, everybody. A winner never quits and a quitter never wins." He's just like saying shit into the microphone. He
just reads those posters in every office in America.
Yeah, hang in there, everybody. And then he says at one point, quote, "I don't know what we'd do without police." I don't know where that comes from. I don't know. It made no sense. And then he said, quote, "I'm the best cruiserweight in the world. I'm 18-0 and ready to go." First of all, he was 16-0 at this time, but I'm 18. I don't know. 18-0 sounded better than 6. They sound the same.
Yeah.
The O is the rhyming part. That's what's important.
Yeah, 16 and 18. There's really the only difference is whether or not you can fuck them.
Yeah. Other than that, there's nothing. In terms of wins, not much. Means a lot more in years. 18-0, ready to go. And he says that he's supposed to fight Leon Spinks coming up, which never happens. But he's supposed to fight Leon Spinks, and he said, quote, in round 3, there won't be no one but me.
Oh, my God. I just want him to retire and promote for people and just do this shit. This is great.
Don't you? Wouldn't it be fun?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That would be amazing. One little, he's in Bradenton sparring, and a reporter's there, and I guess he's fighting some young sparring partner, and he's screaming at the guy saying, go on and hit me. And he's like giving his chin to this kid.
Yeah.
He wants to be punched. And the kid stood there, and the cannon picked up his fists, and he said that he said, quote, the cannon picked up his fists and courage and aimed 3 quick punches for Shannon's face. He said, what did he say here? He said Shannon dodged most of his sparring partner's punches. After 10 minutes, the kid was too tired to go on. And he said, Shannon joked, quote, maybe next time I'll beat you. And the kid said, no, thank you, Mr. Shannon. I guess he just got beat up for a while. So he says that he returned home because he'll never forget that. And he said, Ali told me. Now he's talking about Ali. Yeah. Ali told me, if you ever forget where you come from, then you will never get where you're going. He said it before, but then didn't say it was from Ali. Now he's added that Ali told him that. Okay. He said, those were Ali's words of wisdom. Great.
Yeah.
He said, quote, everybody said I could never make it, but my punch power is great and I train real hard. Sylvester Stallone said I'm the real Rocky. Sylvester and I are good friends.
Yeah.
I'm sure he calls him up and they have lunch together. Just because one time in a ring, he's like, hey, you're the real Rocky. And then he like stumbled off. And
he loves talking about the famous people he's met.
He thinks he's a big shot now. That's the thing. He wants to be a celebrity and he wants to do all this, but you haven't won anything yet. You don't have a championship. You're not Muhammad Ali.
Right.
Muhammad Ali was Muhammad Ali before he was fucking doing that shit. You know what I mean? Like he won a gold medal. He was kicking on Sonny Liston's ass and he did a lot. He says that his record speaks for himself. He said, who else in the world has a better record than mine? I'm not afraid of nobody. Nobody can get in Willie Shannon's way except, who do you think, Jimmy?
Willie Shannon.
Willie Shannon. That's right. Now he's also speaking of himself in the third person.
Of course.
Mentioned in one paragraph, he mentioned 2 celebrity friends and referred to himself in the third person. He's losing his fucking mind.
Yeah.
Losing his fucking mind. He said one of the reasons he came back to Bradenton was to, quote, settle some contract problems. Oh, okay. Boy. He says, I want more money. My contract now is split 50-50 and they pay all the expenses, my car, my rent, but there's no money out front. I want a contract out front. One morning I might walk outside and fall in a hole and I won't have any money to fall back on. I think they will give me what I want. So, yeah. They said that he doesn't want to be rich, though, he said.
No?
No. He said he's actively doesn't want to be rich. He said, quote, richness is a problem. Let's hear his philosophy on economics, shall we?
I'd love to know what he thinks is the problem with being comfortable.
He said, richness is a problem. A big problem with this country is that money divides people from the natural things in life. I want to be in the middle where I can mingle. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
He said that he's had a few problems here and there, but other than that, he's fine. He says, quote, I have girl problems, and I'm constantly going through it now. He said, Stargell and Parker, Willie Stargell and Dave Parker, Pittsburgh Pirates World Series champions at that point, look out for me and tell me what to expect. He's just, Rocky's big right now, Muhammad Ali's the greatest, and these 2 guys just won the World Series, so I'll reference them as well.
Listen, James, I don't know what to tell you, because sometimes Pitt and Clooney give me really great advice, and I got to credit it.
It's true.
I want to act like I came up with it. Pitt and Clooney did it.
Chappelle's always calling me, telling me, that shit's funny. Now, let me tell you, I think that you're doing it always. It happens like all the time. I'm like, dude, I'm busy, man. What the fuck, bro? I'm trying to put this show together. Like, don't you have your own stuff to do? Come on, man.
I started shaving my head, James, because Pitt and Clooney told me that it makes the bald spot look less. Makes it not look as bad. So that's why I figured
they're wise men.
They know what they're talking about.
So they look out for him, tell him what to expect. He says, it turns me off to know at one time when I didn't have 50 cents that now I have a lot of friends. My only friends now are the ones who were there when I only had 50 cents, except for Dave Parker and Willie Stargell and Muhammad Ali and Sylvester Stallone, because they weren't there when he only had 50 cents.
That's a good point.
He says, these two super famous guys look out for me, but my only friends are the people that were there when I had nothing. What the fuck are you talking about? You fucking idiot. So he says he doesn't care who he fights, but he says he wants the chance to box Muhammad Ali and beat him. And that would be great. He said, quote,
well, call him, bro. It sounds like your friends.
That's what I mean. He's giving you all this wisdom.
Right.
Maybe you could beat Sylvester Stallone. And I don't know how good that'll do you in your career, but I think people will be impressed by it. He says, quote, I'd knock Ali out. Ali is gone, and now it's time for something greater to come along, and that is me.
Wait.
Greater than Ali. Yeah. He said, Ali is gone. First, I'd knock Ali out. Ali is gone, and now it is time for something greater to come along, and that something is me.
He thinks he's not just the replacement for Ali, but the
next. Yeah, the new prototype.
Ali 2.0 is a guy from Cockroach, Florida.
Yep, and then he's going to try to talk shit to him here, too, after it, with a rhyme.
Yeah.
He's going to talk shit to Muhammad Ali with a rhyme.
All right.
Okay. He said, quote, this is my saying for Ali. I tap danced on quicksand and never sunk. If he fights me, then people will think he's drunk. That's what he comes up with. Not exactly float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
It's not.
But, not exactly the same thing. Ali was going to fight him probably, and then was like, did you hear that bullshit-ass rhyme he put out? I'm not fighting that dumb motherfucker. Fuck him. He can come up with some better material before I fight him.
One bar, James.
I'm the damn champ. This is some bullshit. I'm not fighting this guy. And so he says he can do it. He said, quote, there's no limitation. I do what I want to do. The beat goes on.
Uh-huh.
He's turned into a completely different kind of guy. First, everyone was saying how humble he was, and they loved that. Now it's all about my celebrity friends. It's at this point where there is an Ali fight in the works. Ali wants to make a comeback, and this is one of the guys they're talking about. There's a few different ones. One of the proposals here was about to be aired on CBS television on a network on Friday night. Big, deal. The proposal was for Ali to receive $1.5 million.
Oh.
And for Shannon to get $100,000. Which, I mean, they're not tuning in to watch Willie Shannon. They're tuning in to watch Muhammad Ali. If you beat Muhammad Ali, then you get $1 million. But, next time.
Right.
But you have to beat him. But he didn't like that. That was the offer that Ali wanted. But CBS countered with $1 million as a total fight bid purse. So there was that. Muhammad Ali would be paying Willie Shannon out of that. And that didn't really work out. So then ABC came in, another network, and was willing to take it. Muhammad Ali offered them a fight purse of $1,150,000, and Shannon would get $75,000 out of that. Okay. So that was that. It never ended up coming to fruition here. Never happened.
Okay.
So instead, April 20th, 1980, he's at the Cumberland County Civic Center in Portland.
Yeah.
instead of fighting Muhammad Ali. But it's still in the works. It could happen. It's just not going to happen right then on TV. But it's still, that's the guy here. So,
what is it? Cumberland Farms.
Cumberland Farms he's at there. Yeah. Cumberland County Civic Center and Farms. That's in Portland. He's fighting Dwayne Bonds here. He's a 9-6-1 fighter coming in.
Uh-huh.
Career 15-16-2.
Okay.
And this fight goes to the 9th round, where it is stopped and Willie loses in a TKO loss.
Oh, shit.
He broke his hand in the second round. And Bonds was a 215-pound heavyweight.
Yeah.
So you got to have punching power to stop a guy that big. This guy was a real heavyweight, and he just leaned on him and fucked his ass up. Over time, there is differing accounts of how it stopped, whether it was stopped because of a cut for that Cannon had, or whether it was stopped because he was knocked down 3 times and it was the knockdown rule. 3 knockdown rule was in effect. We don't know which one, but either way, he got the shit stomped out of him in the 9th round.
So it sounds
and yeah, and if this lowers his record to 16-1, and he said that he had fractured his right hand in training, but he didn't want to cancel the fight because he felt he had, quote, an obligation to Bonds.
Yeah, responsibilities.
Yeah. That's what it is. He said, quote, I broke my hand in the second round, and the pain was so bad by the 8th round, I had to come out. My manager said not to damage my hand for life. So they stopped the fight that way. Maybe he didn't come out for the 9th round. Yeah. Maybe that's what happened. There's a third option here I wasn't aware of. He said in the 6th round, I hit him with a left hook that almost knocked him out, but I couldn't do it with one hand. So he wants to win the cruiserweight title now, he said, because now Ali won't fucking fight him because that fight is, well, he's not undefeated anymore.
Yeah.
So it's not the undefeated up-and-comer versus the coming back Ali. Now it's just some guy who just lost some fight to some guy you've never heard of versus Muhammad Ali. Yeesh. So that's not as lucrative here. But May 21st, 1980, big old fluff piece. Fluffy as can be in the Bradenton Herald, where I get all my news.
Yeah.
Now, it's called, quote, Shannon is now helping others. Oh. So he is ready to go. He says that growing up as an impoverished kid in Bradenton, who was always in trouble, he said those memories will never fade, and it makes him want to help the other kids. And now he's got a whole program he's setting up here. He said, right now I'm working with migrant kids that are not going to school. Why are they not going to school?
Well, they're migrant.
I don't care. So, but they got to go somewhere.
Not allowed? I don't know.
I don't know. What? What do they just put them? Hold on a second. They're kids.
Right.
If there's kids, they got to be in some kind of school, right? That's the way it should be, or right?
I don't know.
Yeah. So
are they registered in this country and they're migrants, right? So they've got. They came across with documents and such, right?
I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what the laws were in 1980 either.
I'm concerned.
I'm very concerned for these kids, especially when you hear what's going on, what they're doing instead of being in school. I'll tell you here. Okay, right now I'm working with migrant kids that are not going to school. Talking about he and Henry Lawrence, an offensive guard for the Oakland Raiders, rubbing some elbows, try to work closely with the kids. That's how I came up. I picked tomatoes. He said they have these kids picking tomatoes. They have migrant children working fields. That's and not going to school.
Right.
Well, it's child labor.
Right.
Also, you can't just you don't need to speak English. Just pick that goddamn tomato and we'll get going on. What the fuck are you talking about?
You
don't need math. Never mind math. I don't know what the hell kind of this will help you in life.
Maybe James. Maybe that's his job too. And he said he's working with them, so there's co-workers.
Well, yeah, maybe. He said that Shannon, oh my God, Willie and Lawrence, the offensive lineman, said they were having trouble, quote, having trouble with the migrants picking the wrong tomatoes.
Okay.
But the presence of the cannon has righted a wrong. He said, oh my God, this line is just not okay. Quote, I am the field boss over the kids. Field boss over the kids who aren't in school? What the fuck is happening? What year is this?
Nobody had any more questions than this?
Oh my God. Then the next, okay. I'm the field boss over the kids. I watch over them and make sure they pick the right tomatoes. I check them out.
Okay.
What the fuck are you doing?
Quality control of their child labor.
Are there books there? Is someone teaching over a loudspeaker as they're? What is happening? This is not okay. He said the kids enjoy it. I am a good influence for them. I show them books and pictures of myself as a professional boxer. God damn it. I expect them as I show them books and teach them how to read and shit. And he's like, I show them pictures of myself as a professional. Aren't I great? My friend Sylvester Stallone and Dave Parker and Willie Stargell and Muhammad Ali think I'm wonderful.
Pick the heirlooms.
No, wrong one. Fucking dumb migrant kids. Jesus Christ.
The orange ones. God damn it.
Oh, man. He said, and they like it. They're inspired. They have to pretend to like it. You're their field boss. What are they supposed to say? Jesus. The first day he reported to here, he said the tomato fields only had a few migrant kids there. He said the next day, the fields were packed. All the kids came there to see him and the other guy. He said, the kids were all there in the fields. Henry and I plan to travel with migrant workers. I plan to do something for myself and my people. Not black people, but people who have minds that are mentally level with progress. I deal with people who are trying to survive. I love people. Okay. He loves people, Jimmy. He's a people person. Keep that in mind here, because we have I know it's gone a while without crime. We have a shocking amount of crime coming up very shortly here in a short amount of time. He says that he uses his own method of psychology on the migrant kids. I don't like any of these phrasings.
No, this is really uncomfortable.
He says that some of the kids approached him asking if he would purchase some of their candy, and he began to talk to them about school. They're picking what? He said the only way I would buy their candy is if they look forward to their graduations. These kids are only 8 and 9 years old, but it's good for them. They're 8 and 9 years old working in a fucking tomato field, not going to school.
Right.
This is
looking forward
disturbing.
to one day being successful. So you can get out of here.
Yeah, with my tomato picking skills. Right. I'm going to really climb to the top of the ladder with that. He said while working with the kids, he's had time to reflect on his past and take a look at the future. He says that it was a mistake to come back so soon after his first broken hand, which was what we said. Right. He said, though, experience is the best teacher. That's all. But he said he's telling the kids it's okay. He's making speeches about his own boxing. He's like Dennis Reynolds from Always Sunny, like lecturing people about himself. He said, everything is super. When you lose once, the other boxers say, that N-word is vulnerable, and they want to fight you. Jesus, that was just right in the paper, and it was like, hey, watch out for that.
Did they really say that?
Yeah. He said, quote, the N-word is vulnerable, and they want to fight you. When you are winning, they don't want to fight. It will be easier to get fights after this loss. He says, right here in Manatee County, people give me more room. People in Las Vegas love athletes. They're celebrities. But regardless of how hard you hit me, I will get up. And I tell that to the kids. So he tells that to the kids. And June 9th, 1981, he's at the Showboat Hotel and Casino in Vegas, where he fights Lee Rocky Berkey.
Okay.
How many guys from this era were starting to go by Rocky? This is too much. Because it was Rockies before that, and Rocky Marciano and shit. But then everyone's Rocky now. He's 13-7 coming in, 15-14 for his career. This fight goes to the 8th round, but it's a TKO win for Willie here, 17-1. August 11th, 1981, Showboat Casino in Vegas. He fights Marvin Carmel. So the Carmel man here, 38-3 coming in. No joke. And this is for the USA Nevada State Cruiserweight title.
There you go.
This is it right here. And it goes to the 3rd round where Willie is knocked out by by Marvin Carmel here. And that brings his record to 17-2. Now, there's some disputes in different sites. I go by Boxer Rec, but there's some disputes. There is other sites that say he had a fight after this, but I don't know if it was an exhibition or not, because that's the thing, whether he was an exhibition, a fight that he won. And then there's also varying reports of a draw somewhere in the middle of his career as well. So some sites have him at 18-2-1, and some have him at 17-2. Okay. We have him at 17-2 using Boxer Rec, because that's been pretty reliable for me always. So anyway, this was a crazy fight because one of Carmel's trainers, had a disagreement. I'm sorry, it's not Carmel, it's Camel. Marvin Camel. I wrote it down wrong. Camel. This guy said that Camel didn't pay him regularly enough. So 2 weeks before the fight, this guy left Camel's corner and joined Shannon the Cannon's corner here. So this was kind of a grudge match for that. And Marvin Camel said, quote, together they plotted strategy on how to beat Marvin Camel. By the way, that's Marvin Camel saying that. There wasn't enough time for Carl to do too much. He might have gotten Shannon to change strategy. In order to beat me, a fighter has to start strong in the first and get to me early. If I can beat I can beat anyone if the fight goes 10 or 12 or 15 rounds. This was Shannon was predicting Camel was predicting a 7th round knockout, and it didn't go that long. Camel said, quote, "He was pretty sharp in applying the pressure. I was doing too much bobbing and weaving. Fred Harbeck gets real nervous, and he was all upset because I wasn't throwing enough punches, and I did realize I should do more. So then he knocked him out with a left hook." So that's that. It's at this point that he becomes a weird guy.
Okay.
At one point, we'll talk about later, he's supposed to have another fight, but he gets arrested before the weigh-in.
Okay.
It's a weird thing. At one point, he showed up uninvited to a wedding party, awesome. Like a prominent guy's wedding party.
He's crashing. It's famous, that's why. Yeah.
It's a big, elaborate wedding reception thrown by a local businessman and boxing judge as well, Joe Swessel, for one of his daughters. So he's throwing a wedding party from his daughters. The event has 2,000 guests.
Wow.
That's how elaborate this is.
Have you ever been to a wedding with 2,000 people at it?
Never. That's got to be, that would be $500,000 now to put that on. That's
awesome.
That's insane. So, yeah, they said they're doing all this shit. He comes in, which is amazing, in a oversized blue leisure suit.
Fuck yeah.
Looking like fucking sexual chocolate from Coming to America and shit.
Yeah.
He comes in wearing that with 8 known area prostitutes as his dates.
Awesome.
That's who he brings with him. Doesn't buy him like dresses, doesn't pretty woman him up at all. Let's go to the polo match. He's just like, "Excuse me. Yeah, I want a date. Hop in. Let's go. Where are we going? Prominent businessman's daughter's wedding reception? Where else would we be going?"
You're dressed perfect for a very nice evening.
Yeah. He pulled up like a utility van and piled up. Like, how did he get them all there? All 8 of them. So he
I
went
like
there.
that corset. Get in.
Yeah.
Corset and fishnets. Perfect.
That's going to work. Uninvited, by the way.
Wow.
Uninvited. Just showed up. And, yeah.
8 of them.
That was that. 8. Yeah, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 prostitutes are here at my daughter's wedding reception.
Ladies of the night.
Wonderful. Not good.
I want it. That's an evening I actually kind of want.
It's pretty fun just to see the looks on everyone's faces as you walk in in a leisure suit with 4 women on each arm. 4
Clearly, I'm
scantily
not going
dressed
to fuck
women.
8 women. That's crazy.
I mean, yeah. Maybe Willie. I don't know. He is the canon. We'd have no idea.
Incredible.
So everyone else thinks of him as like a weird guy, but he also has someone who likes to teach the kids. Some of the kids remember some weird shit going on, though, around his house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that comes to light, especially in September of 1983, when he is arrested for sexually assaulting a 15-year-old girl.
Oh, Willie.
We were on your side. You were just fun and goofy in this shit. And we were happy you were out of prison. But this is...
I like Ryman Willie that hires 8 women.
Yeah, that's much better. This one, he didn't hire anybody. He sexually assaulted her after he threatened her with a knife with gang rape.
Oh, my God.
He said, "I will cut you and have you gang raped if you don't let me rape you," is what he said, basically. And then knife point attacked her after that. A 15-year-old girl.
Oh,
15.
Is it one of the ones he works with?
I don't think so. I think it was a neighbor, actually.
Okay. It's not better, but
no, not at all. But at least it wasn't someone in his care.
Right.
That is worse. If it's anybody, it's worse. Yeah, it's because you can't. That kid can't avoid there. Your parents might have dropped you off with that kid. If it's just somebody on the street that he like wrestled into a car, at least that's random.
If you
this is a kid who was served.
You groom parents for trust to have this kid also.
Exactly.
You might be right. That is worse rather than just
you Sandusky him.
Yeah. It's easy to gain the trust of a child. It's tough to gain the trust of an adult and then steal the child from him.
That's much harder. Absolutely. Yeah. So that's different. This teenage girl, this 15-year-old, said that, Willie offered to drive her home from a neighbor's apartment on August 29th, 1983. He stopped at several stores to purchase beer and then drove to a friend's apartment where he assaulted her rather than taking her home. July 13th, 1985, this is still going on. Now there's more charges against him from more women.
No.
1985, he goes to trial. They hold off on the trial because there's more shit coming out. He pleads innocent to charges that he sexually assaulted a woman in a city park restroom in 1983. He takes the stand in his own defense, and he testified that he broke up with this woman the night of the attack, and that's why she's saying this, because this never happened. He's charged with sexual assault, kidnapping, and battery in this particular case. She testified that he grabbed her by the neck and dragged her into a park restroom and raped her.
Gross.
Fucking terrible. He grabbed her around, carried her into a city park restroom, assaulted her there. She says, quote, because they were saying, well, why didn't you just go away? They actually said that to her. And she said, quote, I could not get away. How could you get away from someone who has you around the neck? Which is pretty rough logical testimony. Yeah. By the way, this in the newspaper that I found this in, I'm going to show you this, Jimmy. I'm going to turn the screen toward you. This is under the title of Sports Quote.
Yeah. What?
A Las Vegas, Nevada woman testifying that pro boxer raped her in a public park restroom. Sports Quote.
Read the quote.
Sports quote. I could not get away. How could you get away from someone who has you around the neck and then rapes you in a park bathroom? That's not a sports quote.
Nothing to do with sports.
No. Just because he's been paid to punch someone in the face at one point in his life does not make that a sports quote. I'm sorry. Absolutely does not.
A sports quote is Starks to Johnson and 2.
And for 2. So he, though, says he's innocent on all these charges, takes a stand in his own defense, and does all that kind of shit. The jury finds him guilty on one of the counts, not guilty. At first, there's a mistrial on the second count. They can't come to... He's guilty of the 15-year-old. Fuck it. He's done with that one. But the one with the woman he had been in a relationship with at some point...
Oh, the sports quote.
The sports quote.
Yeah.
That was a mistrial, and then in the second trial, the jury acquits him of that.
Wow.
But he is still found to have kidnapped and knife point raped a 15-year-old. So,
God, we got him on one.
He's in pretty deep shit, let's just say here, just to say the least. So, wow, this is fucking crazy. He is sentenced to, you, sir, may fuck off 30 years in prison.
Oh, my.
30 years for kidnapping and beating her. He must serve at least 5 years before he's eligible for parole, which isn't a lot. No. But also, he has that previous thing. So, I don't know if he'd be the guy coming out on the first round of paroles here.
Probably not.
So, no, he's not, because he actually he actually goes to prison and remains there from 1983 when he's arrested all the way till 1998.
Wow, 15 years.
He does 15 years for this. Yeah, 50 does half the time, was 50%. So he's released from prison in 1998. He returns to Florida and he lays low.
Yeah,
obviously doesn't want anybody to know he's there. Probably it's got to be. That's, then again, no. I was going to say that's embarrassing, but it's not, if you're a person who would rape a 15-year-old at knife point, I don't know how much shame you have.
Yeah, it's not as embarrassing as it is to you and I.
No, that's what I mean. We'd be like, oh my God, he's probably got a different set of moral standards maybe than we do. So he gets out of prison in 1998, like we said. By 2001, he's arrested again.
Yeah.
This time, much less of crimes here. This is for forgery and petty theft. So, but you would think if you got out of prison for the horrible thing you did, you would never, ever, 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 never want to do anything illegal ever fucking again.
Crime's in your rear view.
It's way in your rear view. You just had a horrible time and everything like that. And you're lucky you're a goddamn pro boxer if you went to jail for knife point raping a 15-year-old girl. Probably saved your ass being a pro boxer. Right. People didn't kick the shit out of you on a daily fucking basis. So he's arrested for that, and he's in his house. You'd think people there'd be pitchforks and torches coming for this asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But instead, there isn't pitchforks and torches. There's only one man who's hunted him down and wants to have a talk with him, and it's Andrew Theron, ice cream company marketing expert and financial crimes avenger. And he says, how is it you come to arrive here? What are you doing? Nah, look at you. Oh, you know what? I got to tell you something, guy. I'm going to tell you one thing right now. You got a wife?
Yeah.
If so, she deserves it at this point, pal. Listen. Hey, you know what? Yeah, I'll drag her into a city restroom. I'll rape her. I don't care. That's why I'm going to rape your wife, pal. That's what I do here. I'm avenging a 15-year-old girl. That's the only way I know how to. How about this? You know what? It's not your wife's fault. It's not her fault. Maybe she's a nice girl.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell she's doing. But I tell you what, I'm going to rape you instead. Come on, let's go. Pony up, pal. Yeah, that's right. No, I tracked you down, so it doesn't even matter. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Boxer? What are you, a boxer? Get the fuck out of here with your boxing. What's your boxing? I don't want to hear you boxing. No, pull him down. Let's go, pal. I'm gonna have at it with you.
Box you.
I'm gonna box your butthole, and then we're gonna see how you like that.
I'm gonna get
how's that?
Box.
Let's go with your man box. Let's go. Let's do it. And then poof, and a poof of ice cream and phone records. He's gone, and he is a very confused and scared man at this point.
Real Andrew's pissed because Tucker got that fine reduced. It's gone.
Oh, I know. No, I would be. If I'm Tucker, I'm excited at one point, and then I'm like, oh no, Theron's. I got to worry about Theron's revenge now. This is just going to piss him off.
Theron's pretty fucking mad.
If I heard that judgment, got off the phone, I'd be like, yes, and then I'd think for a second and go and shut all my blinds. Just shut them all. He's coming. Okay, so 2010 comes along.
Yeah.
And there's something that comes up in 2010. Yeah, and to understand this, you have to go all the way back to May of 1981 to know what happens. In May of 1981, there's a young lady who is a senior in high school.
Yeah.
Jamie Walker's her name. She's 18 years old. Very pretty, well-loved, most popular girl in school, basically. This is her mother says, quote, her mother, quote, she was the first black prom queen and the first black homecoming queen at her school.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, she said this is her. She showed pictures of her Sweet 16 party. She said she was an executive on the council at Clark High School. She was the head cheerleader as well.
Yeah.
She said, quote, I used to hear her at 3 a.m. practicing her cheerleading, and she would tell me, Mama, I'm going to be the best.
Exhausted.
So she
ready? Okay.
Oh, yeah. So she's an achiever, though,
yes,
this girl.
Is.
Very well-liked, very pretty. By the way, this article I found that has a lot of great information was written by a guy named George Knapp. Very, very in-depth reporting where the guy interviewed a lot of people and really went in depth on this shit. So definitely deserves credit for that. So her mother says, quote, she was very religious, read her Bible, leader of the NAACP youth. She would help the less popular kids, too. Girls told me afterward that Jamie used to meet them in the bathroom to help them fix their hair and makeup and such.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, she'd be like fucking makeovers for these chicks. Before that would be considered insulting.
Right.
You know, that was when they'd be like, oh, thank you.
Right.
And whereas now they'd say, you know, I'm trying to look terrible.
Right.
If they want to look terrible. So I don't know, whatever. You can look however you want. I don't give a fuck. So anyway, she'd help the less popular kids try to hook themselves up, though. So that's very nice. May 8th, 1981, she's out on a date that night, and she returns home to her, her house here. And it's a primarily black neighborhood. It's a nice neighborhood, too. Her family is known as kind of royalty in this area. Her grandmother, Sarah Ann Knight Preddy, was a prominent civil rights leader and was during the 60s in this area. So they're well known. Also, Eleanor was active in the civil rights movement, served on a bunch of civic boards and, all that sort of shit. So they're well known. People know her. Her father's name is James Walker, and he owned and operated a big bar and restaurant in the area that everybody knew. It's called the People's Choice at the time. And so they're a good, prominent family. They do well. They make good money. They are known for their civic activities, and the kids are achievers and they try hard, and it's a good family.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a goddamn good family. So she went out, like we said, Friday night, came home, was home all night. And then in the early morning hours of Saturday, May 9th, she was gone. Now, she's 18 years old, so they're like, oh, maybe she went outside, maybe she went somewhere. That's normal for an 18-year-old.
In 81,
they do things.
Kids did a lot of shit.
Yeah, they were allowed to go outside and shit. Like, remember the Goonies? That was 85, and you were allowed to go in an underground tunnel and make friends with a mutant and fight mafia people. Like, that was fine. At the end, the parents were like, "Oh, so happy you're okay." Not, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Sure, you can have that
parent
mutant.
goes, "Where have you been?"
Yeah, what the shit? And the ones with sloth or whatever, they're like, "Sure, you can keep the mutant, no problem." You ever try to get a dog when you were a kid, Jimmy? How'd that go over?
How many times did you take a stray home and your parents are like, "What the fuck? You showed it where we live?"
Oh my God, it's gonna keep coming back. You didn't give it food, did you? Oh, Jesus, he fed the fucking thing. It's never leaving.
Meanwhile, these people are like, "It likes Baby Ruth? Great, bring it home."
Great. Bring a 6'3", 240-pound developably challenged man home, and we'll take care of him forever now. That's
that
great.
Evidently
Beautiful.
Just eats Baby Ruths.
Sign him up. Oh, it's Baby Ruth. So his health is probably phenomenal as well. This is going great.
This thing's going to cost me copays.
No shit. So Jamie, though, takes off. This is not the Goonies. She takes off. She left without putting her shoes on, is what her parents noticed, which was a strange thing that, she didn't believe she would do. And the mother believes that someone Jamie knew must have talked her into opening the door, is what her original thought was, because she didn't, get why she would open the door. But she was gone. She said, I don't know, maybe she left with one of her friends. It was an emergency, whatever, but there's no cell phones, no way to get a hold of her until a few hours later when James Walker is at the nightclub, working, doing paperwork and shit. He gets a phone call from a male voice that James Walker said sounded like a black male voice. And he said this voice on the phone demanded $75,000 cash for Jamie's safe return. They actually said, "We have your daughter," was the way the phone call started. Quote, "I've got your daughter, and I'm not kidding because we've gone too far to turn around," is what the kidnapper says, which is scary.
Yeah.
Then, at the end of the call, the kidnappers put Jamie on the phone with her dad, actually, and to show that she's okay and that they actually have her. And Jamie said, quote, "Daddy, they're not kidding. Give them what they want." That's what she said.
Yeah.
And then that was it. They hung up. They also, they instructed him to not call the police because they're being watched. And if he calls the police, they're going to kill her. That's what they said. So family members went there. They didn't call the cops. They actually were trying to get the money to ransom. The problem was the banks are closed. It's a Saturday. So the banks were closed and they couldn't get the money. They couldn't get any money.
Wouldn't that be amazing, James? You can just go to the bank and be like, "Can I have $75,000 of my money?"
Yeah, right. Can I have, what do we need? So, make it 80 because I'm going to stop at the store on the way there.
Can I have 75,000?
So, yeah, he says that he told basically to try to buy time. He said, "I don't have the money. The banks are closed." The caller said, "Why don't you sell your Mercedes?" So the caller knew he had a Mercedes, knew to call him at the nightclub, all that sort of shit. So when they went to look over the house, basically look over the crime scene and destroy evidence and stomp over the fucking crime scene like elephants, because if someone's kidnapped from a house, you want to preserve that and let the cops do their business, but they just don't want to call the cops, so they investigate themselves. And they found the back door was ajar and that items were knocked over in her room as well.
Okay.
And they had fingerprints that didn't match anybody that they had on the system. So, but they didn't belong to her and they didn't belong to the family members. Yeah. So that's an issue here. So they end up calling back. The kidnappers calling back. And this is a different voice. He said sounded like a young black guy again. He said that Eleanor's, they suggest at this point that Eleanor's then boyfriend, because her parents are divorced, Eleanor's boyfriend might have some money. So they really know this family here. Right. Maybe he has money. They call a third time later on and place, this is to Jamie's brother. Okay. They also let Jamie talk to her brother for a minute, saying she's okay. And then the kidnappers say something very odd. They say that Jamie was the wrong girl and that she had been taken by mistake and would be returned at the end. They say that, which is a strange thing. Very weird. They say that her boyfriend was the guy who was supposed to be taken.
Okay.
So they broke in and took her. That doesn't make any sense. So family members, like we said, they found all this shit. At first, they follow the kidnapper's instructions, but then Eleanor phones a family friend who works at the DA's office, and he said, you have to call, you have to do it. And he contacts the Metro Police, and they are notified, and a huge frantic search begins after this. I mean, she's fucking homecoming queen, man. It's there's going to be some attention on this. So on May 10th, 1981, Sunday morning, she's been missing for about 30 hours at this point. At this point, 3 Marines assigned to Nellis Air Force Base were walking around in the desert, I guess. They arrived at a bridge that spans a wash on North Shore Road, and they found something down there. Yeah. They find Jamie's body down there. 47 feet below at the bottom of a wash, splayed atop jagged rocks, basically. She got dumped off the bridge. Thrown off the bridge onto jagged rocks. Someone had tossed her off the bridge, which crushed her skull and completely, I mean, it's terrible. It's a 50-foot drop onto jagged rocks. You're not surviving that. Her face, jaw, and skull were all fractured and broken apart. Mm-hmm. She had other broken bones and lacerations. Terrible shit here. Terrible shit, obviously. This is very disturbing. So they are very much wanting to solve this. I mean, this is all hands on deck, as they call it. This is a red ball. This is everybody on unlimited funds, overtime. We got to solve this. She's on TV, on the news constantly. Here's her picture. There's a lot of fucking people who are pissed off about this here. The guy who wrote this that I told you about, this is his first weekend working as a part-time reporter at KLAS Channel 8. It's his first week.
Oh, my God. And Knapp draws this one? Jesus.
And this is the first murder victim he's ever seen. And he sees an 18-year-old, a mangled 18-year-old girl on the rocks he talks about here. God. He talked about the detectives. One of them that day was Dave Hatch, who he described as a, quote, grizzled veteran hardened by dozens of dead bodies and sometimes gruesome corpses he'd seen over the years. And that guy, Dave Hatch, said that this got to him, though. Yeah. Because she was such a young, nice person who didn't do any of this. She wasn't like mixed up with the wrong crowd. Right. You know what I mean? She wasn't like trying to sell coke on the side. She's just a nice girl going to school and trying to help people and have a nice future. So he said, quote, she was a good kid, just a beautiful little soul. She was well known and very popular, and someone takes her and murders her. What caused her death is nothing she did. She is a true victim. Very true, I would say here. He said, I think the suspects were trying to throw her in the water, which is over the bridge. He said it was dark. They could hear the water running. They didn't think the body would be found. They probably thought they could still get their money, but it didn't work out that way for them. So in the weeks that followed, people were pissed off, especially the black community was pissed off, saying, what the fuck? You can't find who killed this fucking girl. This is ridiculous. They said that articles in the Sun said the Las Vegas Sun alleged the cops didn't start looking for her until 10 hours after the initial call. So that's what they said. The case file reveals that one of the things that was bad was that there was a persistent rumor that members of the Walker family were heavily involved in drug trafficking. Never proven that allegation, but that was a rumor around, and they dispute it. They say it's not true, but that was a big rumor, and that made the cops kind of go down a couple of wrong alleys first in trying to find her. According to the homicide detective here, Lieutenant John Connor is Sarah Connor's husband. Yeah, it was the first ever case.
The guy from Terminator, also. That was the kid. Wasn't it?
Yeah. He was John Connor. Yeah, there you go. It was he says it's the first ever case of a kidnapping for ransom of an African American in the state of Nevada.
First ever.
I find that hard to believe, but I guess I don't know. He would know. He's an homicide detective, probably. In 81, ever. Wow. That's wild. Isn't that wild? Several thousand people attended Jamie's funeral. That's how popular she was. Fundraisers were held to raise money for a reward. The whole deal. The bad part is what wasn't reported, but the police knew and they kept under wraps, was that she was also raped pretty viciously before she was murdered as well. This was not an easy. She didn't just get thrown over the bridge, but she was alive when she got thrown off the bridge too.
Oh no!
her cause of death was the fractured skull from the rocks. So they did horrible things to her and then fucking threw her away like garbage over a bridge and onto some jagged rocks.
Is awful.
That's fucking horrendous is what that is. That's
God.
It's beyond fucking words, man. That's just, wow. How do you do that? How do you fucking do that?
I can't imagine.
But they do get one thing out of this, the thing that they've been sitting on. A small semen sample was retrieved from her underwear and was saved for decades in the vault. So they have this DNA there. They didn't have the technology to do anything with it at that point other than type it, basically.
Right,
but,
they didn't even know what they've got.
No. So basically, they said that later on, as time goes by, because they don't make any arrests for years and years and years. So as time goes by, they said it seemed that a lot of the time that the police looked like they were dragging their feet, it's actually that there was a lot of things to look at. They said the detectives looked at some 55 potential suspects. Wow. 55's a lot. Conducted interviews, tons of them, staged about a dozen lineups, ordered a lot of polygraph exams and all that sort of shit. They said they had too many suspects and it took a long time to sift through them. Plus, when someone who is, young, beloved, popular, tips are pouring in all the time, and none of them go anywhere, but you have to check them all out.
And some of them that do go somewhere go the wrong area, and then we're over here looking all over this shit.
You wasted 3 days.
Right, for nothing.
And Jamie's mother, Eleanor, wrote her own detailed memos about everyone who may have known anything about Jamie's death, complete with her own suspicions and background tidbits. She had like a guidebook of the suspects of like, this guy, he did this. I'm suspicious of him because of this and that. Like, she was like, I'll fucking I'll do it myself. I'll just do my own homicide investigation. They're on the police file, dozens and dozens of pages. She gave the names of several people, but her attention from the beginning was on her number one suspect, Willie the Cannon Shannon.
Really?
Yeah. He lived a couple doors down from their home, from the Walker home in Las Vegas, and reportedly had been asking questions about Jamie, even though they didn't know each other really. Shannon had reported, everybody said he had an eye for young girls, obviously, and a reputation for often having his way with them. Post-prison, not what he went to jail for.
Right.
Shannon, now they talked to Shannon here. He's questioned, actually, like in the days after after the body's discovered, and he denies any involvement in her kidnapping and says that he had been training for boxing when she disappeared and doesn't know what the hell you're talking about. Fingerprints found at the scene did not match Shannon's prints on file as well. So there's that. Now, he told detectives that I heard that Eleanor Walker's boyfriend had burned someone on a drug deal. That's what I heard. He said, but the Walker family denied being involved with narcotics at the time. So
why would he know that?
That's what I mean. That's what I heard around the neighborhood. I know everybody's business. And then later on in his statement, he referred to Jamie, because they're saying, did you know her? He referred to her as, quote, a snooty bitch.
Oh, boy.
Who wouldn't talk to him. Because you're an old dirtbag boxer and not old, but you're not 18 in high school or whatever.
Also a convicted, spent a lot of time felon.
Yeah, and it's what I mean. Anyway, so Mom didn't like him at all. Eleanor didn't like him from fucking jump here. She says, quote, the first time I met him at the club that the father owned, Shannon told me he always looked out for my daughter because there's a lot of weirdos around. Later, I was thinking he was the biggest weirdo of all. I had a weird feeling right away about him. He came to my house the day she was kidnapped because he said he wanted to sign some insurance papers. She sold insurance, the mother here. All of a sudden, he said he had to run an errand and got up and just left. That was the day of the kidnapping. So that's weird. He stopped over just to see what was going on in the house. Jamie's brother, James, the one who got the phone call from one of the kidnappers, he had received boxing lessons from Willie.
What?
Actually, and spent time at the house. And in an interview, James said that Shannon routinely frightened neighborhood girls into doing things they didn't want to do.
Oh, my God.
Girls, not women.
Oh, no.
Quote, he would take young girls to his house, and he had these big dogs. He would threaten the girls with the dogs, like sick 'em, and he would say, if you tell anyone what I made you do, I'm going to get you.
Oh, my God.
So this is what he was doing after he served 15 years for doing this.
Jesus.
He got out and did that. Then this is Gayla Walker Thornton, who's Jamie's cousin. She says, quote, Jamie was afraid of Shannon. There's a lot of girls in the community that we knew that we grew up with that we grew up in that were afraid of him and think he will always be a predator and will always be a risk to any young person or young girl that's near him.
Sure.
I would say he likes young girls and he's willing to do what it takes to get them to do things to him. It's fucking disgusting. So the detectives looked hard at Willie, but because Eleanor kept insisting he was the killer. And also they felt that he lied to them about minor details during the interviews, but they didn't have enough evidence to charge anybody, and time goes by. Okay. Now, 1990, a former inmate that he was jailed with claimed that Willie admitted to the murder of Jamie Walker to him while in prison.
Admitted it.
He says that this inmate says that he never had received payment from the Walkers for a heroin sale. That was what he told the inmate. Mm-hmm. Detectives believe that his statement about Eleanor Walker's boyfriend burning someone on a drug deal indicates that he was the person that was burned. Mm-hmm. That's what the affidavit of the warrant says. That's what this came to. They think that he was in a deal with the boyfriend and he got burned, so he took it out by killing the girl.
Wow.
Or holding her for ransom and then killing her when he realized it wasn't going to work. So that's what they're saying. Police say that in 86 or 87, he admitted to an inmate, James Phillips, that he was cheated out of $27,000 in a heroin deal with a member of the Walker family. And like I said, the family denies all part of this. Mm-hmm. So 2004, they still haven't caught anybody for this. Jamie's mom here, Eleanor, says, quote, I feel like I'm letting my daughter down if I don't find out what happens. She said, I need a way to tie these loose ends together. She's like that's brutal, man. She's trying to solve the thing herself. She says that she's
have to. Vegas has enough money. Jesus.
That's the thing. She said still think about her every day, and she weeps on the interview. And this poor woman, Jesus Christ, she's been through so much. In 2005, it's the 24th anniversary of Jamie's death. I don't know why they decided to do something on the 24th anniversary, but better late than never. So Dave Hatch, the homicide detective, was in semi-retirement but working cold cases. A lot of times that's what they do. When homicide detectives want to retire, they say, tell you what, stick around. I know you don't want the rigors of that schedule, but stick around and do another 5 years to get to your next pension bump and just do it just looking through cold cases.
Yeah, look through these boxes.
So, yeah, they would know how to do it. So he said, quote, the answer is right here in those files. The person who did it is right there, and all we need is a little help from the public. This is what he said to a reporter. He also acknowledged that Shannon's name was at the top of his suspect list and all that sort of thing. He said that everyone who's looked through the files said that Shannon's on their list as well. New leads came in, nothing solid. 10 cold case detectives worked on this case, and all of them took a personal interest in it because of how innocent the victim was here. So also in the file, though, they find new information about the inmate who'd served with Shannon and told him about the involvement and all that sort of thing. And also, James Walker, the brother who took boxing lessons from him and got the phone call, he ended up in jail at one point, and he picked up the same information. He heard through the grapevine that guy killed your sister, by the way.
Wow.
So there's that. 2010 comes up, Jimmy. 2010. Think about that. Eleanor's getting sicker and sicker and older and sicker here, so she's not going to last much longer.
29 years post the murder.
Yeah, she's hospitalized all the time. But at this point, the Metro Police Department for Vegas receives a $500,000 grant that allows it to conduct advanced DNA tests on cold cases.
Right.
Because they need that. Otherwise, it's not in the budget to do that. There's fresh murders they got to solve. So that shit's not in the budget for advanced, expensive DNA testing. So this includes Jamie's case, falls under that. Now, they had a difficult time getting DNA from Shannon, but at one point, a Florida parole officer inadvertently tipped him off about one of the plans. He fucked up and said something he shouldn't have said because they had a plan to get his DNA. Mm-hmm. Like they were going to take a soda can or some shit from the parole office. And he found out about it, and they couldn't get it. However, eventually they got his DNA somehow. They snagged it.
Good.
And they do it. They test it with the results of the underwear, and they find out it is Willie Shannon's DNA on the underwear. Yep, that's right. So December of 2010, 29 and a half years later, he's finally arrested for this shit.
Wow.
Think about that. He fucking was boxing after that still.
A lot.
That's disgusting. He's finally arrested. Also, police suspect that he's the ringleader of the kidnapping, but there's at least 2 other people that participated because they made those other phone calls.
Yeah, right.
So they don't know anything about that. Eleanor said she knew it the whole time. She said she knew it was someone who grins and speaks and says hello, but knows what happens to Jamie. That's what she said. She says, I knew it was someone who we knew. Now, the odds are it was definitely him after the DNA. They find that. There's no doubt about it. He enters a plea of not guilty. You know, he's not going to admit to that here. Right. Police believe there's 2 additional suspects because they found fingerprints that don't match Shannon's in there and all that, like we said. So that's the perpetrator, but they never match. They can't match him to anybody. Whoever it is isn't in the system.
Whether or not they kidnapped him and helped him with that, who gives a shit? It doesn't appear as though they put anything inside her. You know what I mean?
That's
he's
the
one that did it.
He's the neighbor, so it would have been his idea, all that shit. The police said, quote, we tried to get a confession out of him, but he wasn't cooperative. I think he thought he had gotten away with it. Yeah, it's been almost 30 years. He had served time and everything else. Then they also said, quote, this is after prison. He said, quote, I find it hard to believe that he straightened up after he left here. My assumption is he continued. He may not have been caught for any of those, though. Yeah. There's more. Yeah. You don't do that. No. You don't brazenly break into a 18-year-old's house like that and drag them away and kidnap them and rape them and throw them over a fucking bridge and call their dad for ransom, man. Dude, that's ballsy. Yeah. You just don't stop doing what you're doing after that.
That's certainly been done before.
Yeah, and we know that he held the one at knife point. That was later. That was 83, those other ones. So he had already done this. So he's capable of anything. Those women are lucky to be alive.
Oh, my God.
The ones in 83 held at knife point and dragged into a bathroom. They're lucky to fucking be alive. I mean, Jesus Christ. The cold case detective here says initially he was named a suspect back then. There just wasn't sufficient evidence to prove it. It just took a long time to get the physical evidence so we could confirm it. DNA technology evidence advanced enough to be able to assist us. So the problem is there's a lot of delays in the trial and all this type of shit. The trial's rescheduled for years, 3.5 years this goes on for. All this shit, Eleanor getting sicker and sicker and sicker, obviously. The day she's supposed to give her deposition, she dies.
Oh, Jesus.
Eleanor never got to speak her piece in court about the whole thing. So that's sad. That's very fucking sad. Really bad. One of the guys, isn't that terrible?
I'm so upset.
You're going to get more upset, don't worry. One of the guys who used to box with him says, quote, it's sad to hear. A lot of people looked up to him and admired him as a fighter. He said he was so nice. He was so eager to learn. He had what I thought was a huge heart in and out of the ring. So his current neighbors in Florida don't believe it. They don't think it's true. Current neighbors in Florida. Ellenton, Florida is where idiots live who don't believe in DNA. He says that the neighbors were surprised. One neighbor, what's his name? He didn't want to be identified. Willie's a great guy, hardworking. He's been a good neighbor, better than most. I loan him my lawnmower and he brings it back filled with gas.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so, I mean, that obviously means that he shouldn't be sent to prison for murder. I mean, you know, what the fuck? He brings it with gas in it, Jimmie. He's a good guy, obviously. Not guilty.
He doesn't rape my gas. He's a very nice guy.
There's no jizz in there. It's just gas. Another guy, Tommy Daly, he fucking gives his name. He lives a few doors down from Shannon. He said, that's shocking. I've never really met him, but he's always waved when I saw him, and I would wave back. I have a hard time believing someone that nice could do something like that. He waved?
A guy what?
Oh, he said that his sons, Tammy Daly, her sons, had visited the last week before the arrest, had visited Willie Shannon, and he fixed the chains on their bikes.
Okay.
She had just sent her children over there a week prior to that. Rather than going, oh, my God, I'm horrified, she says, I don't think that's true.
He didn't rape my kids.
Whoa. I never talked to him about his past, but he was always so friendly. It makes me think maybe he's changed. Maybe he's got his life together now. So they're like, he's nice now.
Right.
So what if he raped a homecoming queen and threw her over a fucking bridge? What are you talking about? I don't give a shit how nice you are.
Listen, my kids went over there and he fixed their tires and chains and shit. A guy that rapes and throws kids off of cliffs would clearly tell you I rape and throw kids off cliffs.
Completely. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Threatening people. Fucking disgusting. TJ Maluski, this poor kid. He's only 15 years old at the time. He's older now, but he's a student at the Manatee County School of the Arts. His parents live across the street from him, from Shannon. He says, I just talked to him the other day. He said he was taking out the trash, and I just offered to take it to the curb for him. He said, thank you. He was a good guy. What a nice kid, by the way.
Yeah.
This 15-year-old offer to take the can out for a neighbor. That's a nice fucking kid. But, yeah. Anyway, he's wrong, but still, nice kid. Now, Jamie's family, they allege that there's got to be other victims that are just afraid to come forward, other ones that he's raped, and who knows, ones that were murdered. Who the hell knows?
Or just weren't tried to get ransom out of, just disposed of.
Think about this, Jimmie. What's the group of people that people kill when they want to kill someone and get away with it because they don't think that society gives a shit?
Prostitutes.
Does he know any of those? Has he ever been around?
At least 8 of them.
A lot of them. That's right. You know what I'm saying,
At
dude?
least Ocho. Yeah.
In Vegas, who knows what's in the deserts out there? It's fucking crazy. So, man. They say that. Eleanor says that before that, she said that she needed to stay strong before she died. She said, 30 years of people telling me to give up to the point that I had to cut some of these people off. It's hope and trust more than anything that I trust in God to bring this person to justice. Gayla Walker said, like I said, she was afraid of Shannon. So, I mean, this is a fucking disaster. I feel terrible for these people. I really do. 30 years they had to fucking not know and have that over their heads. It's awful. How do you not have empathy for these people, right? I mean, I feel bad for all of them, Jimmie, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Willie Shannon.
Oh, my God.
International captain and investor in the greater Phoenix area.
What?
He's got is on the steps of a Learjet is his picture. Oh. William Shannon, freelance journalist at the New York Times. Oh boy, he's a fucking. I'm not that guy. I swear I don't rape kids and throw them over bridges. William Shannon, president of the Shannon Corporation in Sudbury, Massachusetts. William Shannon, teaching assistant at Houston ISD. Nope. William Shannon, museum curator in Belleville, Illinois. Jesus. William Shannon, senior data analyst at Storable, and finally, Willie Shannon, chief operating officer at IM3NY in New York City. So,
wow. COO.
There you go. CEO, baby. COO, sorry. You were right. 2013, like we said, Eleanor passes away right before she's going to give her deposition. She was 70 years old. So they said that there's a lot of her information and depositions from the past that might be able to get put into, trial here. Her sister as well, apparently, still lives in Atlanta and had traveled there a lot. So she had a lot of her information. She said, my sister prayed that justice would prevail, and that is my hope also. So, 2014, the trial is going to start for murder here. So this is the real deal. So he's going into that. 2015, it finally is going to happen. And right before the trial, he's offered a plea deal.
And what is it?
He's offered a plea deal.
What does he say?
And it's an Alford plea. And he says, no.
Really?
No, I want to go to trial.
Okay.
They said that, Shannon's lawyer, Mace Yampolsky, said the deal the prosecutors wanted was an Alford deal, but he said, quote, there's no way he's going to admit anything. There's no way this deal will go down if he has to. He just couldn't admit to something he didn't do. And
Mace really thinks they've got nothing.
Yeah, he said that this deal would have given him a sentence of 15 years, by the way. 15 years. And now, if they go to trial, he could face a death penalty.
Right.
That's how that works. But at the same time, they're saying that 34, 33, 34 years, it's hard to convict somebody at. Literally all you have is the DNA.
Yeah.
You know, if he comes up and goes, yeah, you know, I used to talk to her and she came over my house and we got it on and then she left and I don't know what the fuck happened. And there's reasonable doubt for that. Or,
sure.
You know, what do you say? So it's really difficult. So a bunch of family members came to court. They all had Justice for Jamie shirts on. And
good.
A lot of support from the family and all sorts of shit like that. So he wouldn't take the deal. And the district attorney of Clark County says, we thought there would be closure today, but Mr. Shannon said no. So they're the ones that are going to continue to suffer, talking about the family with the Justice for Jamie shirts on. Her sister, Eleanor's sister, Renee, says Eleanor wouldn't have wanted to see a plea bargain. She says, quote, in my heart of hearts, I think she would have been devastated and sick to her stomach. So, yeah. They also said, though, the DA says it's also a 30-year-old case, more than 30 years. When you have that length of time that passes between the crime and prosecution, it doesn't exactly help the prosecution.
Sure.
It doesn't. Yeah. Witnesses die, things degrade, evidence gets lost. It's not good here. Now, they said that the trial is going to be in March. The family said they'll all be there every single day with their T-shirts on and all that shit. The defense attorney, I guess Mace Yampolsky is a good attorney. He's one of the best in town, the reporter says. And they said they're going to take the deal. The thing is, they're going to do it. There's still a substantial cash reward. I think it's to this day a substantial cash reward for anyone with information about any of the other suspects in this case.
Really?
If you know who the other two guys are, because they never find them. They never find out. Willie doesn't tell on them. Nothing happens. So they said at least one of them's out there. January 2016, finally, he's been in custody for almost 6 years now. He pleads, finally, takes a deal. The equivalent of it's an Alford plea here to second-degree murder to avoid the trial. So he won't. That doesn't admit guilt, but concedes that the prosecutors could prove their case. Right. That's an Alford plea here. Prosecutors said it would have been difficult, obviously, to get him, so they're happy about that. They also allege that he had co-conspirators, but he won't talk on that either. So he won't say anything. Wow. He's silent during sentencing and everything. So March of 2016 is sentencing. He's, 64 years old, standing there. Not 64, 60, 3 years old, standing there. And they all have their Justice for Jamie shirts on. And the judge gives him, you, sir, may fuck off 15 years.
What?
15 years.
For
That's the deal.
second-degree murder?
Yeah, and because the plea fell under the 1981 law, because that's when the crime occurred,
right.
He receives credit for his 5 years in custody and will be eligible for parole pretty soon after he goes to prison.
Holy shit.
So 2017 is his first parole hearing. He got sentenced in 2016.
Right.
2017, Nevada Parole Board rejects his request to be released.
Good.
However, a few months later, he is given parole and set free.
Holy shit.
He returned to his family in Florida, he said. The DA said, quote, well, we were informed. I got a letter 2 days, or this is the family. I got a letter 2 days after they let him out. And so that was very offensive. And I struggled with this intensely my whole life, but especially as an adult. This is fucking ridiculous. So he's on the streets, man.
Wow.
This guy's on the street. He's on the street. And Jamie, on the other hand, Jamie Jarmel Walker, is buried at the Palm Downtown Cemetery in Las Vegas in a mausoleum thing. So he's hanging out fine. She's dead.
My
Countless
God,
other people.
What the fuck?
Who the fuck knows what happened with other people and other young girls, how many there are, because we know of a few. How many more are there, Jimmy? The brother knew of girls he threatened and went, how many? How many did he rape? How many did he kill?
How old is he?
How many? Now he's in his 60s.
Oh,
now he's probably, 66, 67.
Oh, my word. Man served prison time for rape and murder, and he's free.
And he's free
Wow.
separately. I don't even know what to say about this shit, man. So
as a not very old man.
No, he's still fucking spry, and he's a boxer, so he's still strong. He can still, who knows? And I'm sorry, but I'm not. If I'm a young girl, if I have a young girl in my family and I'm in his neighborhood,
I don't feel safe.
She's carrying a fucking box cutter everywhere she goes. Yeah. I mean, this is not okay, man. Fuck that shit.
Holy hell, man. Where the fuck?
That's Willie Shannon, everybody. Willie the Cannon Shannon. Good luck sleeping tonight.
Yeah, especially if you live in Florida.
Holy shit, yeah, especially Florida. So that's that. If you were fascinated by that story as much as I was, let us all know. Let the world know. Tell us all about it. Get on Apple Podcasts, that purple icon. Give us 5 stars. Say some shit on there because that's how they count. And it helps drive you up the charts, which is very helpful for us so people can find the show. In addition to that, you definitely want to follow us on social media.
Yes.
We're at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. That way you can get all the updates on everything new, like all the new live shows and all the rescheduled dates of live shows, which you can find all over shutupandgivememurder.com.
Right.
You can find all the live shows, all the rescheduled 2022 dates, those few at the end of 2021 that are there. Get your tickets right now because we can't wait to get our asses on the goddamn road and have some fun.
Can't wait to see you.
Going to be good shit there. So do all of that. Patreon.com/crimeandsports is so good. You get access, first of all, for $5 and above, you get access to all of the Patreon bonus,
right?
Not only Small Town Murders, but Crime and Sports as well. And they're rarely about sports. Correct. They're mostly about craziness and crime and wacky shit and comedy. So you get access to all of that, the whole back catalog of it, everything. And you get a shout out at the end of the show. Mm-hmm. Jimmie will mispronounce your name terribly, like we're going to do in a couple minutes here to honor you, obviously. But the episodes this week that you're going to get to see or listen to, holy shit, we got some good ones. We have, first of all, we have backstage wrestler fights. We're going to talk about wrestlers fighting and also wrestlers that got fought whole bars and wrestlers that got their asses kicked by whole bars. We'll get into all of it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just wrestling shenanigans. That's always a lot of fucking fun. So we'll get into that shit. It's going to be great. And for the Small Town Murder one, we are going to dip into the newspaper archives and find some good old-timey murders. Because those late 1800s, early 1900s murders are always the craziest shit we've ever heard. They're always nuts. They're never anywhere near normal. So we're going to check all that out. I'm very excited for it. And you should be too. Patreon.com/crimeandsports. And if you just want to have a shout out and have excellent karma and our undying love and affection, you can do it very easily over at PayPal. Just use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com, to make a one-time donation. And we will be so grateful for the rest of our lives. That said, I said all that, and now I need to hear the list of the people who would never, ever, ever drag us from our rooms and toss us over the side of a bridge after assaulting us in any way, especially sexually. Jimmie, hit me with those names.
Well, this week's executive producers are Damon Stevens, Jordan Bennett. Simon Shedd got a new job, and he had a birthday this week. Good for
Happy
you,
birthday,
Simon.
Simon.
He's
good
the
for
best.
you guys. Thank you. Yeah, they're awesome people. Thank you.
Other executives this week are Ann Fountain, Amanda Powers, Connor Thomas, Christy Barrows, and she donated every possible way that you can. Thank you so much, Christy.
Thank you
You're
so
terrific.
much.
Eric Crabtree, Justin McAlexander, Darren Weiferich, I think. Yes, Darren. Did I say Darren? I don't even know what I said.
Darren, whose wife is rich.
Yes. Other producers this week are James Martyr, Jennifer Stevens, Carl Kirshner, Peyton Meadows, my little buddy Jalen Truss. He messaged us on PayPal because I was like, I don't want to. I said they lost their grandparent because I didn't know what to say, and then realized I don't have to assume a gender because they is fine. But Jalen wrote to make sure that I understand. Jalen is a boy, so now we know that.
Okay, so now we know that. We didn't know.
Got all that clarification.
I think it's just because we made a mistake and we were like, is that? Who knows? And then we were like, well, shit, we just gave them.
Right.
We just gave them a gender, so I don't know.
Thank you, Jalen. You're a good kid. Hang in there. Keep being amazing. Also, Liz Vasquez, Alejandro Martinez. That's a
beautiful.
Isn't that a who sings that? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Navigators USA Chapter 110. Terror and Fordham Baldies. Richard Johnson donated in memory of Fawn Leibowitz, and it was his birthday, and I called him on Instagram, he didn't answer. I think it was his birthday. I don't know. Somebody just wanted me to call him.
Leibowitz. Why does that name sound familiar?
Fawn Leibowitz. I don't know. Is that a joke somewhere?
Is that an OJ's? Is that one of Nicole Brown's friends or something?
Don't look at me. I haven't got a clue.
I think it might be. I'll look it up while you're doing these.
All right. Mike Hewling, Maria Rasper, Megan Blank, Kelsey Couts, I think, Regina Phipps, Baron Ashkenazi? What?
Ashkenazi?
Yeah. Is that
There's an Australian pervert dirt bike rider with that last name. I hope it's not him.
Maybe it's Baron. I don't know. Also, Thomas Smith, Sam McHale, Jude Kendall, Alexi Knapp, Matt Britt got a new liver, and Maggie gifted him the CIS live show in the hospital. Thank you, Maggie. That was very nice.
That's awesome.
And
really
hang in
cool.
there, Matt. I hope you fucking rock that liver out. Good for you.
Hell yeah.
Also, Christy Kelly lost her pup Baxter, and he was a good boy, and she's very hurt about it, obviously. April Dunning's friend Megan Noosh had a birthday. Happy birthday, Megan, or Megan Noosh. I don't know if that's the real name. Janice Hill, also Jean Leon Magnato, Raj, Rerun, Dwayne, and their mentor Shirley.
Yes, the What's Happening crew. I love it. Thank you.
Rear Admiral Jack Mehoff, of course. Well done. Avon Merger, Susanna Platt, Juan Epstein's Fro, Michael Halgsma. What? That might be me typing wrong. Dividas Maraskovas. Jesus Christ. DeForest Bloom had a birthday. Happy birthday, DeForest. Ashley Vio, Eric Curtis, Julie Maynard Standard, Tessa Hupp, Nick Nuremberg, E.W. Calavari, Amelia Wilson, Matt Hutchinson, Telly Hickey, Elizabeth Greenup, Kayla Moore, Kayla, that's Kayla Moore, Amanda Rebello.
Amanda, Jimmy. Amanda, really?
Right.
Okay.
Isabella, and also Amanda Hawley, Isabella Quintana, Corinne Lemaire, Ryan Miller Shasky, Christina Rock, Heather Yarborough, yes. Nita Moore, Abigail Sheets, Gino Falk, Jim McCormick, Clay Campbell, Tiffany Cunningham, Amy with no last name, Kel Nelvell, Andrew Marist, Kimberly Easton, Roger Eckberg, Jordan C., Taylor Johnson, Christy Simmons, David Fuller, Amanda Wegman.
I love Amanda. That's my favorite name ever.
Amanda Wegman, Clayton Watson, John Manderfield, Michelle Bork, Skylar Stewart, Alana Abel, Heidi Johnson, Justin Killingbeck, Craig O'Mahony, Andreas, James Rhodes, James Blue, Michael Phaeton, Michelle Mazaris, Nick Libicap. Fuck these last names this week. Andrew Temple, Jennifer Shantz, Taylor Kench Merrick, Heather Gilliam, Jessica Collins, Daniela Rios, Ashley Milton, Mark Spears, Rachel Farmer, Kyle Hopkins, Julie with no last name, Unionize Your Workplace, Rory Douglas Cobb, Mary Borge, Susanna Beagle, Bianca Arano, Laurel Fay, Michaela DeJager, Debbie R., Bailey Freer, stop it.
The wheels are coming off, everybody.
Frederick Keefe, Laura Chadwick, Elena Mitchell, Natalia Buxo Bergie, Amanda Barden, Brooks R., Tab Evans, Mark Connolly, Patrick Roseberry, Mary Sider, Liz Wilcox, Jennifer Dalton, Victoria Bollock, S. Brad, Nicole Carlson, Ace 2014508. That might be their social. I'm not sure. Jacqueline Cuskuna, Jolene Loritz, Kate Saccone, Tink with no last name, Natalie with no last name, Kyle Bierce, Cindy Moreau, Lee Searcy, Doc Strange. Yeah, no.
Okay.
Justin Weir, Brooke Hudson.
No.
What's that?
There's no.
I don't know for sure, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Brooke Hudson, Travis Parker. Say again.
I seem confused.
I'm very confused every week.
This
is a fucking nightmare. Brooke Hudson, Travis Parker, Samantha Michelle, Erica Morris, Shelby Topham, Trin Gozier, Rosalie, Tammy Altman, Galactic Commander and Baby Girl, Catherine Campbell, Melissa Hawkins, Samantha with no last name, Drew Diddle. It's Diddle. My Christ.
Diddle.
That is tough. Fred Mercado, Christina Capizza, Charlie Bourne, Brandon Koch, Marcy Goodfellow, Kim Phillip, Jessica Rowe, Alyssa Rizzo, Emily Rowe, Laura Marshall. I think that's Marshall. Travis. Nope, that's Trisha. Trisha Rhea, Melissa Stotsky, Christopher Stalin, Kelly Flaherty, Tiffany Kaiser, Joe McNeary, Kate Cohane, Kit and Greg, Terry Dowdy, Savannah with no last name, Amy Montgomery. What is it?
I'm just laughing.
Arena.
Sorry.
Arena Strelitz, Donna Farron, Andy Drew, Lavelle, Shay Beaton, Joey Kirch, Lauren with no last name, Ryan Unroe, Connor Thomas, Madison East, Douglas Jameson, Randy Michelle Allen, Tyler Tharp, Amanda Foltz. Yep. Aislinn Partington, Heather Ling, Davey McCrory, John Welty, Devin Lee, Dean with no last name, Kayla Lacey, Jocelyn Sabori, and Rick Perando, and obviously all of our other patrons. You guys are truly amazing. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much, everybody, for everything that you do.
You're amazing.
You are amazing, honestly. Everything you do for us is you're all in everything, honestly. You guys are our you people are our rising sun, so we appreciate it. All the warmth and the photosynthesis cannot be done without you, so thank you so much for that.
Taking care of my children has never felt better doing it this way because the other way was so much worse, putting up with seeing people that don't give a fuck about me. These people care about us, James. It's bananas.
That's wild.
It's
I don't know
unbelievable.
why, but they do, and I'm impressed by it. So just thank you for everything, and thank you for giving a shit.
Yeah.
What if they wanted to give a shit about you on social media?
Well,
How could
you
they
can
do that?
find me at Whisman Sucks on Twitter and Instagram. What about you?
You can find me. I'm at Jimmie P is funny. You know how to look people up. Just Google us and Google the show. You'll find us. God damn it!
Find us.
Do
let's
all
chat.
of that. Yeah, we'll chat, we'll hang, do all that shit. Keep coming back every week. That was a wild ass story.
What
I'm telling
the
you,
fuck?
that was crazy. That's one of those where that should be a known story, right? That shouldn't be like I don't even know about it. That shouldn't be like that.
At
But it
minimum,
is, so.
the people in his neighborhood should know.
Right?
Yeah.
No shit. Really?
Yeah.
No, fuck. I thought he was fine. Yeah, maybe you should have known that.
Don't wave at him.
Anyway. That said, keep coming back and seeing us because we won't go away. Live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel. Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.